kukakasika kwake kwakuita panyaje mupfungwa vakutora advantage yekumushandisa kuita zvinhu zvoumori, right, nezvimwe zvinhu zvokuramba vachibira nyika vachidzinga vashandi vavasati vachada kana kutochinja mageneral basa. Vakambobva kuti general uyu hatimudi, varingomuchinja iye basa rake aungosaina chete. Saka Emerson ava munhu ari dangerous kunyika, right? Saka saizvozvo taitoona nyaya iyi yadambidzwa nevana venyu kuparliamendi, tiri kuisa kuparliamendi. Hazvirevi kuti zvimwe zvese izvi tamisa pari zvino tatitogotora nhoroondo iyi, right? Ndine vana venyu aiwa vakatsama zvikuru dokuna mukana wakaita mademonstrations vakati aiwa shortcut nyaya ngatibatsira nei iwe kwedu uyu munhu afambe ainde nyika yedu ienderere mberi. Ndatenda hangu mhuri yeZimbabwe. Thank you.
Right.
Apedza zvake comrade bombshell. But impeachment yakutaura ane vanhu muparliament here comrade Geza aizi yema 132 thirds what yeah?
Ngoma Titus.
Yes.
Ngoma Titus. Ndinoti gaga ndopandanorara zangu because this is asante sana. But anyway, to get to the issues, I think I'm really concerned and satisfied. Well, I'm satisfied with the fact that Mdarada ana plan. And I'm also concerned ne mental health yake Mdarawi. And I will tell you why. One would have hoped if they thought this through, they would have considered impeachment route first. And if the impeachment fails, then you have the threat of demonstrations. But now you start with what has been said to be failed demonstrations. Now you are saying we are going to impeachment, when that avenue has always been open. But at the same time, I'm also very alive to the fact that the threat of impeachment in of itself was also used to some degree to leverage forcing Mugabe into resigning. But I think you should also then maybe put things into context and realize that it was not impeachment alone. It was backed up with the coup, which was not a coup, and also with the people on the streets. Then to come to the point that you're making, Titus, about numbers, I think impeachment is a numbers game. And in circumstances where you're saying the guys in his corner have used money to buy people to be on their side, then I'm wondering, what are you doing to mitigate against that reality? Because all someone needs to do is to pay. But most interestingly, Geza's not a member of parliament. We were wondering all this time who's behind him, who is he working with? And I think it will just be interesting to see who will even table the motion for impeachment, because I think that will then maybe put things into context in terms of who he is working with. Then in closing, I was also disappointed when he started name dropping, particularly religious leaders, because I think he's then opening himself up or exposing his credibility to take hit there. Like what we have seen last time, we had Neso Chamisa coming and saying, and this is Zive. So I think him dropping people's names is exposing himself for an attack there. But in a nutshell, Asante Sana, I don't see this thing going anyway. This might as well be a polite way of saying we have failed citizens. And my heart cries out to the people who acted upon the strength of his word, and those people are in prison. And he's now thinking of impeachment, which was always available before he risked the people's lives. But again, I could be wrong. Thank you, Uncle
Right.
George.
Thank you very much. Right. So, yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, what Geza is saying, right there, is that they are going the impeachment route, as you have said, AJ, and this is on the basis that Emerson Mnangagwa is now losing his faculties. He has got vascular dementia, and they've got evidence that speaks to that. He pointed out, correct me if I'm wrong, Titus, pointed out that they've got evidence from his doctors or something like that, that is his status at the present moment, and he has also used some events and occurrences that took place that points to Emerson Mnangagwa being vascular demented. Yeah, he spoke about Emerson Mnangagwa failing to recognize July Moyo. He has also gone on to speak about Mnangagwa not knowing that Zimbabwe does not have a FIFA-approved football stadium to host home nation, home matches. This is why I mean, as you know, we are playing our football, our home matches away from home. And then he said that because of his status, those who are around him, they are now taking advantage of him, and they are making decisions. And some of those decisions that they are making, he gave examples of the POSB issue, that it was the Attorney General who took advantage, or that a letter or something like that, to front the takeover of POSB. He spoke about the influence that what's his name, Kudakwaseta Gray, is also having. He's speaking about some of the schemes that are currently underway, the presidential schemes, and he's saying that Emerson Mnangagwa has got no control over those schemes, but there are people surrounding him who are spearheading those presidential schemes. He mentioned them by name, the solar, the borehole, the whatever. And he has also spoken about uh, um, the influence that these Ziganangas are having around Emerson Mnangagwa. He brought in Nelson, what's his name, Wikino Chuvayo, into the mix. And so basically what he's saying is, because Emerson Mnangagwa has got this disease of the brain, which is a vascular dementia, he is no longer fit to be the president of Zimbabwe. So what they've done is they're now going they're going to Parliament. How that is going to play out, we are waiting to find out how that is going to be played out. But that is the issue that is now taking center stage, the impeachment of Emerson Mnangagwa. So, right, in a nutshell, and according to my recollection, as a person who's not demented, I think I've managed to squeeze that.
I, th- I
I
think
think
he
you
could
are.
have added. He could also have added the train thing about him confirming if we have a passenger
Yeah,
train
even
in the
with a
country.
passenger train that goes to Sahara.
Yeah, so I think
Yes,
evidence, whatever evidence that they were saying they have, I think those are some of the examples. And also, I think you summed it up well, Uncle. And then when we come to the initiating the impeachment, we believe that is to be done by any senator or any member of the National Assembly. So
yes,
the biggest question then comes to say, if that's the route that they want to do, have they thought that through? Do they have the people? Because as we were saying even before that speech, money is powerful in Zimbabwe, but vanotengwa. So if it's a game of that, have they got the people behind in the parliament? That would be the first
absolutely.
question.
I remember, somebody was saying, I don't know, who said this, that what the amount of money that was used during the the Mugabe era. I can't remember the figure from the top of my head now. I had dementia with a kicking, but there was I think a mention of millions, to get Mugabe, to go. And now we are looking at these individuals with the amount of wealth and resources that they have at the present moment in time. What is it going to take to initiate something of that sort? How much money are we talking about? Because these guys, if it is going to parliament, they can, if they want to buy people, if they want to buy these MPs, they've got a lot of money at their disposal to make sure that does not see the light of the day. And also, if you're looking at the composition of that parliament, if you're looking at the fact that ZANU-PF is controlling both houses, how feasible is it that, and who is prepared to move that motion to impeach Emerson Mnangagwa, given the current status of our parliament, the current status of our Senate? Because this is going to take, the combined, parliament and Senate to move, this thing. Like what, we started to see before Mugabe's resignation letter was read by Mudenda on that Tuesday. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not seeing this, happening. I don't know. Maybe they've got a plan, that I might not be, familiar, with, but this right here is a very, very, very long shot.
You did mention that we are not stopping the other, but for now we are focusing on impeachment. So I think all the energy is going towards impeachment. So then it begs the question to say if these guys really thought this through. But anyway, we can hear what others think, Uncle.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Wopo, do you want to come in and give a response before we bring in other people to weigh in on this issue now?
Yeah, thank you. I listened to what Blessed Bombshell as I said. I think for now it's fair to say they've reached the end of the road. For now, unless if they've got maybe it's a decoy plan. I don't know. We just have to look at what's in Parliament, or perhaps to say what do you need to impeach a president. So to impeach a president, you need one half of the National Assembly to support a motion, and then you need 2/3 of both the National Assembly and Senate to vote in favor of of that impeachment. So the National Assembly has got 280 MPs, 210 are directly elected, and 70 are proportional and special seats. And the Senate has got 80. So if we look at what ZANU-PF has, it has 136 directly elected members of parliament, and women's quota is 33, and youth quota it's 7. What it means is that they must have the opposition, part of the opposition on side, but they must have a lot of MPs from ZANU-PF to come with them. And the only thing that can sway people to vote for impeachment is money. And so what they're essentially saying is they've got enough money to give MPs more than Tagore and Mnangagwa, which is not plausible to me. I think they've reached the end of the road for now. As someone said earlier, impeachment should have been the original idea, the initial idea rather, and then back it up with a nuclear option, like what they did with Mugabe. There was a nuclear option on the streets, and there was impeachment. And what they did for Mugabe to sign the impeachment letter, the resignation letter, to stop the impeachment was to say, if you don't resign, we will let the masses come to your house to blow roof. Impeachment is not a one-day thing. It takes long. It can drag on. It can go to courts. And this guy owns the courts. He has paid those judges, all those houses he was buying. It was for a day like this, because emotion, to have a motion of impeachment, it takes a few days or even a week. And then you have an investigation by a joint committee, which takes weeks to months. The committee investigates the allegations of misconduct, failure to uphold the Constitution, or if you are incapacitated, which is what they're saying. It can take months, and Parliament has to vote based on the findings. So the realistic time frame for impeachment could take a month or more. So as far as I'm concerned, Uncle Jed, we are back to default.
Reset. Back to factory settings. Right, Mercy.
Uncle,
Okay, yeah, okay. What I,
They-
right, okay. Okay, Mercy, okay. You can come in and then Lennon, since the remaining you can walk us through this. But Mercy, please come through.
Can I use words from Keza?
Like which ones?
Bullshit. I've never seen anybody who comes in like a raging ball of fire de-escalate in the manner that this guy has. Yeah, it's not right. It's taking the piece, and it proves things that we have been saying. Strategy, hapana. Backup, hapana. He was thinking as he goes along. But we were a community that was just on the tipping edge. And he went with it. This guy had no plan. How does he pass the process to hands that he has no control? That is betraying that there is no plan. You can't take something from where you said you had full control of and now leave it to the mercy. Even analyzing this is a waste of time. I don't want history to record me discussing a stupid thing. This is crazy. And this should teach our media practitioners that your influence on people is so important. Flip-flopping now and pretending that the analysis that you had in the beginning when this plan was put on is the same as what you had after Monday is ridiculous. Luckily, the revolution these days is televised, and fake revolutions get televised more. And we have the evidence of what people were saying that are part and parcel of the hype mastering that happened here. There's no plan here, but we will sit through the spin doctoring of this. He's more likely to suffer from the same illness that he's accusing the president of, because this does not make sense. If I was the practitioner looking at this person through his actions and risk taking, this is a crime. But that's what I would say. Playing around with people, and to mention them so trivially, the people who went to demonstrations, and mention that the ones who stayed away, the stay away was the success. So what does he call the ones who went away, who went out? Since what now is the successful stuff is the staying away. Yet he's the same man who stood and called people out. It will teach us a lesson as Zimbabweans. Stay in your lane. ZANU PF is ZANU. People it produces in its party do this. They play with our lives. They would never do this strategy using their own ZANU PF people. The 2 million people and ask them to make a decision between the general and ED and let them fight it out to Congress. Pay each other, lobby each other, and whip each other. They wouldn't do that. This is crazy. But I leave it here. I'm just interested in how people spin this nonsense.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Lennon, do you want to weigh in on this one? Is
I'm a bit saddened, Uncle. Yeah, it's really disappointing to say the least. I expected better. Listening to Geza speak on Monday and saying, I'll give you a way forward on Wednesday, I thought maybe there's something more tangible. He knows very well. This is a man who was in the intelligence. He is a man who has also been a member of parliament. So I'm sure you would know that an impeachment process would be a long shot. We are aware that a few weeks or months ago, opposition MPs, including Chabangu, were in Kwekwe, the president's farm, endorsing or seemingly endorsing him. So the numbers that are needed in order to succeed with an impeachment, quite onerous for our parliament as it is constituted at the moment, is quite a difficulty to really do that, and is, to be practical, not feasible. You never know. Maybe he has something that he can pull, but the chances of whatever that he has said today to succeed are quite remote. I may then say this could be a decoy, but with the kind of men and women that he's dealing with, I'm sure they would know that maybe this is a ruse meant to divert their attention to maybe from the real issues to something else. I feel bad for the ordinary men and women who went out on Monday. And maybe like what Marcy has said, it's unfortunate that this is where we are. On Tuesday, there were young men and women on Rotenro who have been placed on remand until the 15th of April, who acted on his word. So maybe our people were right not to participate actively in their numbers on Monday, given what we are now seeing. So it then becomes a difficulty to say, given the fluid dynamics of our politics, the people are still confused and there is need for a leader. I do not want to bring that person in the conversation, but to really close by saying maybe it's time we really have a serious conversation about a visible leader with visible structures and communication channels that can reach the people. Otherwise, with this faceless revolution that has been televised on virtual spaces, I think it's difficult for us to really see whether change can come. I think it's time that Zimbabwe really considers the kind of politics we want, that is a visible leader who can give a clear signal where there are structures that can really bring the tangible change that we are all looking at.
Right. Oppo, back in 2017, if you look at that impeachment process that was initiated before the resignation letter, was read, it's something that actually was a resolution of ZANU-PF Central Committee meeting that said to say that they are recalling Robert Mugabe from his position as president, and this was something that was tasked to the chief whip to push that motion to get the proceedings started. Unfortunately, we did not get to see the actual proceeding taking place in its entirety, because it's something that was stopped in its tracks as a result of Robert Mugabe resigning. And here we are. We have got Geza and his movement. At the present moment, we do not really know who is really backing him, who's really behind him, and the prospects of this being initiated in the first place. Surely they look, grim. I don't see anything, right there.
Well, as I explained, you remember that 4 or 5 days ago I was bashed when I when I said it's the end of the road for the vice president and that he had been outmaneuvered politically. And this is exactly what we meant. This is what I meant in the analytical piece, if you can go and read it again. That politically, the vice president was outmaneuvered the day Emerson Mnangagwa convinced him to remove the running mate clause. That was the only protection clause that he had. When that was removed, that was the end of the road for him, as far as I was concerned. And when you look at what Blessed Gezai has said today, unless if it's a decoy, as someone has said, uh, impeachment is a difficult process, because remember, they have said that the Speaker of Parliament is a Chigananda. They're fighting him, right?
Mhm.
And that's the same guy who's supposed to facilitate the impeachment. How will that work? ED has got the Chabango opposition right in his pocket, and many others in the opposition who we don't know yet. We know that our opposition guys are in it for money, so they will be paid. Uh, Without wanting to dampen people's spirits, this is the end of the road as far as what they've been saying is concerned. As I've said for months, the only options left for the general now is the military, but his right hand man was removed. And the other option that was available was an uprising, but that won't happen again. As I explained 5 days ago, that you need security guarantees for the people to go into the streets. So an uprising is not going to happen. Um, so I think this is the end of the road. And if there's no element of surprise from the other camp, that's also the end of the road for the general, because red lines were drawn in the past 2 weeks between him and his boss. They always knew that they disagreed. They always knew that they were fighting each other, but it was more of shadow boxing. But now it became real, with people like Mshangwa saying what they were saying. So, as I said again 5 days ago, the next thing that we are going to see is the beginning of a process to remove Chiwenga as vice president. That's what
Mm.
we're going to see. And I know that I sounded like a madman when I said it 5 days ago, but that's the reality. You see, what we need to learn, Uncle Jed, is not to analyze things on the basis of what we want to happen, but on the plausibility, looking at the reality on the ground. And the reality on the ground was quite clear that short of a coup and short of an uprising, nothing else is going to happen. And to try and impeach someone who's backed by himself with billions that he has looted, someone backed by Tagre with billions that he has looted, and many other business people right behind him. I'm telling you right now, they are opening champagne. The
They are
Lakwani
toasting.
team, they are toasting because they know that impeachment will not work. It has to be something else that will work.
Right.
Impeachment, they don't have. You see, the difference between President Mnangagwa and Vice President Chiwenga is that President Mnangagwa is prepared to spend money. Tagore is prepared to spend money, but the other side has not spent money visibly. They could have been doing it quietly, but not visibly. And so impeachment didn't work with Mugabe because Mugabe was actually prepared to fight impeachment. When they realized that impeachment would not work because Mugabe would fight it, as I explained earlier, impeachment would take months, at least a month or more. So you're telling me that you're going to impeach Emerson whilst he's sitting in Harare as president for a month? It won't work.
Yeah, sure it won't work.
Let me
Right.
just read this one, Uncle.
Uncle.
This guy can. What if they have another plan, but they are simply ticking boxes of the constitutional options to justify the ultimate plan? Is that
Yeah, you're right. You're right. If they have, if
Yeah,
they
I
have
think
another
this is
plan,
where now the decoy point is coming in. That
if they
maybe
have
it is a
another
decoy.
plan, if they have another plan, yes, that's fine. But the problem with impeachment, the other problem with impeachment is that if they try it and it fails, that's the end of the road. They cannot carry a coup after failing impeachment because the regional leaders will now not accept it. They will say, look, you tried to impeach this man, you failed, you lost. Now you are trying to use guns. So impeachment can happen when you have carried out a coup like what they did with Mugabe. They went into the streets first. They then brought the people into the streets for visuals. They went to parliament. And then when they realized that Mugabe was prepared to fight it out, they said, we are now going to release the people to come to Blue Roof. Whatever happens, it's not our problem. So what made Mugabe leave was the threat of the people being let loose to come to Blue Roof. It was not impeachment. Impeachment was a tool which they realized was not going to work. So
Right.
look, it was good entertainment while it lasted.
Right. Ken.
Uncle. Yeah, thank you so much because ndakupinda underground. Ndaida ngoti mungoudza Owen Chari naMwendas kuti pane mumwe murume akaposta giraffe panapa. Thank you.
Ten watanga. Unongouya ungotaura tuma one line wangobva wabaya.
Ayo, but ndozvavaida kuti chamisayo zodefenda izvozvo izvi. Ndozvavaida kuti chamisayo zoprotecta kuzota part of handiti. Chamisa akaposta giraffe angatozviona kudhara izvi. Many thanks, Uncle. Maita basi.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Ango.
Yes.
30 seconds.
Right.
A suggestion. And
What do you want to suggest?
Okay. And again, this is in the spirit of accountability and making sure that no one come across as if they are mad or irrational. So I went back to your spaces, Ango, especially the one that you held on Monday, before the I think before the update from Geza.
Yes.
And I compiled some of the submissions that were made in those spaces by prominent people, giving their expert analysis of what was going to happen. So I was thinking maybe we could play a game at some point. I know we've got a lot of people who want to come and make submissions, but we could play a game of what was said before, expert opinions that were given before as they were, as they were waiting for Geza, versus what they are saying now.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I think then people will be able to draw some inferences, whether to take some people seriously next time when they try to mislead us. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
I do have
100.
serious.
Sorry, Mkoma Gerard. 100%. We need that game so we can learn from history. Because
Right.
Don't go back to history. Vanhu vanozoti ngatidzokere takambokudza are bad people. Yet learning from history is crucial for us to improve. So I think we need to play that game. We definitely need to play that game.
All right, we'll play it. Don't worry, we'll play it. Right, but yeah, right. Before I bring in Dr. Moses into the conversation, I've received another message here. I just want to read this. Handizo, the hard truth is this: Zimbabwe's opposition cannot outgovern ZANU-PF until it outthinks ZANU-PF. Real resistance requires more than trending hashtags and impeachment theatrics. It demands cold-eyed analysis of power structures, patient coalition building across civil society, and disaffected ZANU factions. And most critically, a credible alternative vision that speaks to the material needs of citizens rather than the emotional catharsis of activists. Until then, these cycles of hype and retreat will only deepen the regime's confidence and the people's despair. The revolution will not be live streamed, nor will it be legislated through doomed impeachment fantasies in a parliament that ZANU-PF is popularly represented. Power concedes nothing without demand, but not all demands are created equal. Some are strategy, others are suicide by self delusion. So it's a message, that I've received. So I just thought that, I should,
Wow.
I should, read that out.
A quick question. A quick question. Does the impeachment here, this mental capacity, does it differ from the other? And it when they misconduct, when they failing to uphold constitution, but varikutaura nyaya yekuti zvo inability to perform function due to mental. Does this one differ then from the other two? Because kana asina munhu asingagone kuzvifungira pache zvake, does it differ kune vanogona mutemo?
Uncle Jet, yeah, thank you. So, I think I'm disappointed like any other person. Let me maybe give an example of Kenya. We saw the impeachment of the deputy president Rigathi Gachagua in Kenya. And if you look at that process, you can see that it was a very complicated process, despite that President Ruto was in charge and in control, and even with the support of Raila Odinga. Of course, Kenya uses the running mate clause, which makes it more complicated. But impeachment is not something that you can just do overnight. You need to have the control of the key institutions. Even Gachagua get to the point of challenging the process in the courts. So if you look at the process, as Daddy Hope has said, number one, you need at least 50% of the combined members of National Assembly and the Senate to pass the resolution in support of removing MNANGAGWA on the grounds that they have mentioned. And they mentioned the ground that he is unable to perform the functions of his office because of the dementia they mentioned. So getting that 50% is not an easy, it's an easy thing if you have the control of the institutions. Then after that, the second step would have to now have a committee on standing rules and orders, which must compose of people from countries parties that are represented, including the opposition, which means that you need to have people from the Citizen Coalition for Change and from ZANU-PF to investigate the charges, to say what are the merits, and then they can recommend, and then you now need a joint vote between these two houses, and which you need a 2/3 majority to be able to pass that. And even after, if you pass that, MNANGAGWA can go to the courts and challenge the process to say, and this issue even of physical or of mental incapacity, you need medical reports. They will be needing, you can't say we have got the reports. After the process, there is a need for independent medical practitioners to assess MNANGAGWA and say, yes, it's true that he has this condition. So to be honest, I mean, I agree with previous speakers that this is not something that we can expect to happen unless if they are using it as a decoy, as other previous speakers have said. So I mean, it's it's a deflection of the issue. I mean, so yeah. Thank you, Ango. That's my
Right,
remark.
right. Yeah, and also, if we are looking at this point of, this issue of impeachment, let's take, this hypothetical, I'm just saying it for the sake of saying it, hypothetical situation that, it goes through. It means that, the ball is going to go back into ZANU-PF's court, and ZANU-PF will then second the next person who will become the president to serve the remaining or the remainder of Emerson Mnangagwa's tenure, or to say he will serve in 30 days for 90 days, then prepares the country, for another election. So I mean, are they doing this as a way of getting Chiwenga to assume the presidency of the country? Let's say, that is that is something, that can happen. Is this now the only viable option that Chiwenga has for him to become the president of the country? I want to pose that question. Ruibo.
Yeah, the challenge that I see is the way that Geza came into the space. Momentum ya Ghana, with the majority and the people. I just feel, people. That's why people feel deflated. There was so much momentum in terms of galvanizing people, in terms of this is what we can do. We'll do this. We'll do this. So for him then to take a step back and say impeachment, it kind of you can kind of relate to why people would feel Kutaiwa maybe is run his race. So it is definitely the momentum is died down big time. Anyway, somebody who was coming next.
That momentum is dying down. Right, Ruimbo, do you want to come in?
Yes, I do. Let me just get my headphones off.
Yeah.
Is it
It's-
is this over now, Ruimbo? Say go on going.
zvageza isusu takumboita commercial break now vasekuru vedu ava because like I said before, I don't really trust Gez, and I think after M31 my position has definitely changed. I think I was under the position let's wait and see, but we waited, we saw, and we still left with nothing. And in his last statement that he made after that, he did make this statement where he was saying, Kuti, by the end of the week, it will be gone. Now, if we're talking about impeachment, we're talking about this, it's going to go for a really long time. But I do believe him, though, when he says, Kuti Droni, Ed has got dementia. This is something that I've been talking about, and I felt like nobody was trying to listen to what I was saying. I definitely believe that he's got dementia, and because he's got dementia, I do think that it gives us, the people, leverage to investigate further. I think the best way we can now utilize Geza and the information he's giving, firstly, we just need to verify is what he's telling us true or not, but we're not part of his fight. I definitely can speak on behalf of the young people. I've been spending a lot of time with them on TikTok, and they're not interested in what Geza has to offer. I think now the young people are under the position that, thank you so much, Sekuru Magaita Basa, Magati Tangira, Magati Batrandima, but let's isusu tista kubata gejo manje. We're going to be the ones to do what is needed to push this forward until the end. I think that Geza did a really good job to start this and revive the spirits of people to know that actually we can raise up and fight. But now I think we need to firstly prioritize Blessed Mklanga. He now needs to be out of jail, and amongst those people that were arrested and many other people who have been arrested, unlawfully. And in the process, they can do impeachment, Zawo, but in terms of them getting our vote of confidence, that's absolutely over. And that I'll end there for now.
Right. Okay. Because there's some people that are saying that, look, guys, trust this process. This move right here is meant to sort of make this thing fall into this democratic space, to say, Guti, what, the president was removed as a result of his inability to perform his function, stuff like that. But I need more on that. I need people to expand more on that, to help me understand where you're coming from with this narrative that you're saying it's not over yet. It's just another process that has been initiated to sort of try and bring sanity, to this whole thing and put it within the democratic, realm of doing, things, such that when things do happen, later on, it will not be seen as something that has been done as a coup or something, like that. But I need more.
Uncle
I
Gerard,
need
can I
more on
just
this.
quickly point out actually that earlier when we were refreshing, I don't know how I ended up on shorts, but I saw that Geza had posted a very random video. Now you would imagine that no other video would be posted on Geza's account, but this one was, and unfortunately it had a logo. Now when I went on the website and I went on who is running this organization, I wondered, is Geza actually working with Chiwenga, or is Geza under the protection of human rights activists? And if he is, then this has all been a big scam.
Right. Anyway, let's see, how this thing. Let's see how this thing, play out. We might be hasty in our, conclusion, now, but maybe, there's some method, to this madness here.
Uncle, a quick one, guys. We've got over 60 requests to speak, so we just want to try and accommodate as many as we can. Tingons were different points, so if you feel you've spoken and you can make space, please do. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
move
absolutely.
on.
Or what we can do, Titus. Some of the folks, that have spoken, we can bring them down. Yeah, some of the folks, that have spoken, we can bring them down, and then we'll bring in, more people. And if there's anyone that want to engage, Oppo, I'm going to leave him there. If there's anyone that want to engage, him, you can, engage, with him for as long as he's still available here. But folks, that have spoken, given, their what you call it, their input, you can, make way, and then we create space for more people to come through. And also those who are coming in, please, can you just take 3 minutes, submissions, 3 minutes. We are timing 3 minutes, and if your 3 minutes are up, we'll ask you, to conclude in 30 seconds before we ask you to step down. So just come here with your thoughts well packaged, and be prepared to utilize the 3 minutes that you have. The 30 seconds is just an exception that we may be prepared, to give. But we are looking at people coming in and speak in 3 minutes so that we can accommodate as many people as possible. Right. So can I bring in Simbarashe? Simbarashe Munenda, please take the mic. Your 3 minutes starts from now. We let's start, timing more so that people don't go overboard.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Gerard, Titus, speakers, and fellow listeners. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, it's. I think it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. When all this stuff was being talked about, the there were mentions of dementia around the president, or around Mnangagwa, quite a while back. Um, I think the reason why Geza is doing this is because they may be, and I'm being speculative about this, that there may be consensus amongst maybe a sufficient representation of ZANU-PF within parliament, because that is where the game has been directed at. Ideally, I think that is where they've always been thinking, hoping to get to, because they want to try and avoid a coup that is either heavier or similar to the one that took place in 2017. Um, they are guided by Section 97 of the Constitution, which then obviously covers the medical incapacity of a president being medically unfit to continue with office, which then can be invoked through parliament. But then, additionally, suppose they're actually putting pressure on Mnangagwa, which I suspect has been the case because his behavior and conduct over the past couple of months, since maybe around the time he went to Ethiopia, there have been changes in how he moves about. Case in point being, if you notice, when he traveled to Ethiopia, he was actually accompanied by Sanyatwe. And Sanyatwe at that time, he was not wearing his uniform. He was actually wearing civilian clothing. Uh, and nobody even mentioned that whether he was accompanying him as a bodyguard or as someone in another capacity is something that is maybe we can always analyze further. But then additionally, there's also, why am I talking about pressure on him? It can lead to Section 100 of the Constitution. Section 100 covers voluntary submission by the president itself to say, I am not in a position which then would help expedite the process, assuming then Section 97 has been invoked correctly. But ideally, these guys are trying to use the Constitution. I mean to say they may have sufficient support for what they are about to do, because we can pick nuggets from what Geza has been doing. Geza is actually name dropped, and of the names that he has dropped, how many have come out? We know ZANU-PF people would literally come out and swear their allegiance. There are a few names that have been mentioned that have not come out and said, hey, we are dissociating ourselves now from what Geza is saying. So I guess just for us people on the sidelines, personally, I'm one of those people watching from the sidelines. I'm hoping they succeed in whatever they are doing. The reason being that whenever they do also succeed, it also shows that they are probably getting closer to their weakest, because they are running out of these elderly people that they still say wartime credentials and everything else, which kind
Right.
of opens up to everything else. So thank you. I will let this.
Right. Thank you very much. I do appreciate. Right. Right. Can I have Dr. Ian, to come through? Your 3 minutes starts from now.
Thank you so much, Gerard. I think mine was more a question directed to Hopewell, and based on the scenario that we presume that, of course, that the VP is behind all of these shenanigans. So the question is more two-part. The first part is there then any significance, given that we've seen recent moves to have Taguire part of the ZANU-PF Central Committee 1, and given that, would that have been, or could it be construed as a preemptive move to control the organs of the party? Of course, being someone who's a billionaire, you'll now be in a position to influence certain things there. And then secondly, knowing that Chiwenga, being a military strategist, well, experienced at least in the art of war, would you think that what he has done then with Geza would be the best show of his hand in this matter? Thank you.
Right. Right. Thank you very much. Wopo, do you want to come in there and respond to that?
Thank you very much. We are now in speculation country now. I think the people that actually know what's happening are the key players on both sides. My view, as I've always said, and I know I've been bashed for this, is that politically, the vice president was outmaneuvered. The avenues that were left to him, they are shrinking as well. The coup, the uprising, and the president waking up dead. Each day that comes and goes, we age towards 2026. And what I'm hearing is that the Lacoste faction wants to have Congress in 2026 to deal with all this. But some of them who are daring, they're actually pushing for Chiwenga to be kicked out. So we might see a process of him being kicked out. Politically, he's not strong at all. If we look at the political arms and the state arms that matter in this game now, is the judiciary, is parliament, is the executive. The executive is controlled by Emmerson Mnangagwa. The judiciary is controlled by Luke Malaba, who's Emmerson Mnangagwa. And parliament is controlled by the speaker, who these guys have called the Shigananda. So what matters now, it's now a money game. It's a game of money. And in terms of money, the people that have the real money are the people that are around, not around, but Emmerson Mnangagwa himself has got money. then the Tagure's and so forth, they've got money. So, honestly, I'm not happy to say I got it right, but it is what it is in terms of the reality of what's happening now. A lot of business people were asking me, "What do you think?" And I was saying, "Oh no, I don't see anything happening." Um, but what these guys, we have to give them that credit. What Geza and his team have managed to do is to remove the 2030 issue from the table for now. I don't think we'll be hearing 2030 for some time. Uh, that we have to give credit to them. But that is not what they really want. What they really want is to remove the guy. Uh, so I think the long and short of it, in order to allow others to give their 2 cents, is that the general is on the back foot. He needs to figure out now what to do. And knowing Emerson Mnangagwa, he might be fired, and it might not be long before he's removed. I think each day that goes, um, it becomes worrisome for his camp. And as I said earlier, before Geza came to speak, some of the guys that I spoke to that are in the military were very despondent. It's like they knew this was this was what was going to be said today. They were very despondent. One of them said to me, I'm so mentally drained. Um, and I was waiting to listen to this guy, and I think unless if it's a decoy, it was a damn squib. It's not what people. You see, when you hype people, Ango Jet, when you hype people to a point where they believe it can happen now, and I know people like me were looking like we're crazy. We kept saying, people can go to the streets and they should go to the streets. Let people do what they want. But we looked like crazy because we kept saying, yes, uh, in terms of theoretically, would want this to happen. But the prospects of it happening, they look very slim because of the reality, especially after Sanyatko was fired. And some even said, no, you're wrong. He was not fired. He was just moved to another department. And then Mchango came out yesterday and said he was fired. So I think it's there was a sister who was speaking who was very despondent, bordering on anger. We have been through a lot. Don't be angry, don't be despondent. Just let's wait and watch and see what they're going to do. Uh, the tragedy for me is that when all this is happening, there's no alternative. And I think somebody mentioned the fact that we need to start building on an alternative. It's important to have an alternative because these people are able to fight like this because there's no alternative. If Morgan Tsvangirai's MDC was alive today, these guys would not be able to be doing all the stuff that they're doing. They will be facing a real force that will be pushing them, putting pressure on them, making them to account. But right now, we don't even have a main opposition leader. Noso Chamisa is resigned. Welshman Ngube, no one elected him. Chabangu is a crooked charlatan. So the MPs are everywhere. You don't even know who's where, what are they talking about. And those guys, I can tell you that, they can be bought. But my view is that Tagore will be the first one to offer them a bigger chunk of money than the other side.
Right.
Um, and as I learned, I want to say to remind people that impeachment is a tool that was tried with Mugabe and it didn't work. And so they had to threaten to send people to his house. But in this instance, how do you threaten Emerson with people going to his house when you couldn't even put people in the cities,
Mm.
the streets?
Right. No, I hear you. I hear you. Thank you very much, for that. Right. Can I bring in Dr. Tadini, please? Your 3 minutes starts from now.
3 minutes kuti abvisa mukoma Gerard, but ndozviripo. The first thing that I will say is kuti ma360 atiri kunzwa panapa, they are amazing. 360s that are happening within the same space. Later on we'll talk about 380s, 180s, sorry, turnarounds that are happening within the same space. Later on tozotaura that happened, well, to see what happened in the past week. But they are now victims. They are victims of Gaza. The 95 that have just been mentioned, in a very brisk way by Gaza himself. We will give lawyers, someone will visit you, very obscure. And those people are going to suffer. There's already a victim who has been suffering already, Mhlanga. That person is going to suffer. But all of them fell because of an illusion that Gaza has some serious power and that power can protect him. And we fell into that trap and supported that position. A lot here supported that position, although now I would change it. I can say I didn't, and I've been clear about that. And these are some of the things we're mentioning. How are you going to protect the people if they go out there? We cannot have people going out there which will teach us humor that there will be protection. Now we're finding out that there isn't. So those are victims of Gaza and misrepresentation. And they're victims of influencers here, people that you also asked to just to go, and we're trying to block alternative voices that we're asking the crucial questions. So we also have to take account of that, influencers that assisted in something that clearly was not for the people, or at least it was not well thought out so that people will be protected. The other thing is supporting from the sideline. I think we always spoke about this, that you should support from the sideline. Just watch the fight. Don't get into the ring. And the reason why you should do that is because it's not clear, and it is an OPF thing at the end of the day. I think people here can now take the merit of why we say that, and we should have stuck to our own projects. In the moment that they were doing that, we should have been building our alternatives. We should have been strengthening our alternatives. I'm glad to say that some of us stayed at that work, and it will pay off in the long run. The other thing I want to stress here is our greatest enemies are the people that were telling us not to think. I think you remember everyone who constantly says, "Musafunde sterek problem in Zimbabwe is makadzidza." We wouldn't have fallen for things that are this obvious. Because I think everyone was saying, at least people who are not afraid of the influencers, were saying it's obvious. Stay at home, double speech, etc. Tungomanya, so I'll go on speculation. 3 minutes to show my
Right. You got 30 seconds.
You are already moving to speculation. Yeah, you're already moving to speculation. Someone is talking about decoys. Who says it's a decoy? That's the other thing that destroyed us. Understand? Could you start to speculate and you allow people to build castles and you have arguments about the castles rather than for you to have arguments about things that are practical that you can work on? Allow me to say these guys have destroyed chance equity to resist 2030 outside their structure, and it might have been intentional. So we have to go back to that project. How do we resist 2030 on our own?
Right.
And
You're I've given you an extra 30 seconds. I told you to package your thing, we want to give as many people the opportunity to speak. Please.
Yeah, it's difficult. Just last this one, I promise, very short. Build our alternatives. Don't be afraid to join something new. This one, I'm Mickey Mouse or Gutawa. We need to do that. We can't run away from the responsibility of being one Mickey Mouse until we get strong enough to resist these guys. Let's go back to that project.
Right. Thank you very much. Appreciate. Right. Signing, do you want to come in?
Yes. Thank you very much, Uncle. For me, I think I just went through what the people are saying on the timeline of Twitter, and I see that I can sense the frustration. People like Kudamsasi were saying, Tirima stupid. Some of them are now justifying. You see, Chamisa was probably right. Someone said action without strategy. They went on and on. But the point is that as Zimbabweans, we are very frustrated because of the move that Comrade Geza announced, particularly because we do not believe that there are such positive prospects for that kind of thing. You can even see from the language here that we are now beginning to turn on each other. That someone suggested that we should play back the analysis that was made probably by Shining and ask him to say, look, when next time when you talk, we're not going to listen to you. We are turning on each other. But this is an internal fight that is going on within ZANU-PF. What I've never understood is how that internal fight within ZANU-PF has greater or disproportionate ramifications within the opposition when that fight is actually just within ZANU-PF. And for me, I think that we should really look at this and say the fight that is happening outside our camp should not divide us. Because we don't survive from these kind of divisions that are created by the events that occur within ZANU-PF. Lastly, I don't want to waste the opportunity of having Hopewell here. I want to also be asking him a question so that perhaps I can pick his brain. They said that they want to start on the to initiate impeachment because ED has got vascular dementia. But the questions what I have is, what are the prospects of success? Maybe you've already touched on that a bit, but perhaps how does Geza and his team ensure that ED cannot make a move against them while they complete this impeachment? What are some of the thoughts that you have? As I've said before, me, I've kept my apologies. If this turns out to be a success for all of us, I will apologize because I had said that I am not going to be part of this. That is why when you see me analyze, I analyze like an outsider because I'm just looking at a movement that's happening. But I'll be very happy to hear what Hopewell thinks about the prospect and about the things that Geza would do to ensure that ED does not move against him before he completes the impeachment, which is his trump card.
Right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Wopo, do you want to come in?
Thank you very much. I want to start by saying I agree with the brother that people should not turn on each other. We do not want a police state where people are not allowed to think and share their opinions. If they get it wrong, that's fine. It's not a problem. You shouldn't shame people from speaking out. As I said, when I wrote my piece, I was sharing my opinion, and it turned out that the piece that I wrote came to pass. It turned out to be correct, but it would be absolutely wrong and very it's like repressive behavior for me to say, so everyone that disagreed with me now that I got it wrong must be shamed. That's wrong. It's very anti-intellectual. We should never support things like that. People should be allowed to say what they want, and if they get things wrong, they learn from that. What do we gain from shaming people that they got things wrong? It's very, in fact, it will kill the whole idea of having Twitter Spaces, because people will now be afraid to speak and say, if I get it wrong and Hopewell gets it right, he's going to come after me. I disagree with that angle, Jed, and you should not do that. It's anti-intellectual, and it's wrong. We should allow people that differ with us to share their ideas and to let them speak. If they get things wrong, they learn from that. It's it's like in school. There are kids that were smart. Imagine if the smarter kids would come out and laugh at those that had failed. It regresses the ability of those that have not done well to learn something from their mistakes. My brother mentioned an issue that is very important in terms of the procedures of impeachment. I said earlier that impeachment, as far as I'm concerned, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because it's a long process. It's a long process that can take months. And that's the reason why it was abandoned by Chiwenga and Mnangagwa in 2017. They then used a threat to Mugabe to say, if you don't resign, we're going to allow the mobs to come to your house and deal with you. That's what made Mugabe resign. It wasn't impeachment. Impeachment is next to impossible. That's why those that are saying it could be a decoy, they could be correct. I disagree with those that are saying you shouldn't say it could be a decoy. We can't say that, guys. Allow people to think and allow people to share their views. It could be a decoy. What if it turns out to be a decoy? It might not be a decoy, but allow people to speak. We should not have this culture of stopping people from expressing their views. Whether you agree with them or not, allow them to speak. This is the ZANU-PF culture that has gotten us where we are, where people are not allowed to express themselves. We learn, and those that you want to learn from you can only learn if they say something and they realize that they got it wrong, and then they learn from you. You can't say because of this, because of that, you can do this. Let's replay things and shame people. What do you gain from that? We are all victims of ZANU-PF. Everybody is a victim of ZANU-PF. Let's discuss. One day we will get it right. And we should be able to look back and say, oh, on that day, I got it wrong. I was one of the people that supported the coup in 2017. And I'm not ashamed to say I got it wrong. Emerson has turned out to be one of the worst African leaders ever, post-colonial African leaders ever. But I'm not ashamed. It was something that I thought would work, but it didn't work. And all those people that marched Anglo Jed were looking forward to a better future for their country. We cannot shame them to say because you supported the coup. I see sometimes, pictures of when people enter into arguments with people like Fadzai Mahere, they post a picture of her when she was standing next to soldiers. It's retrogressive. Let us stop this business of trying to shame each other, trying to destroy those that don't agree with you, to smash them to smithereens. It's not good. Thanks, Uncle Jed.
Right. Thank you very much. For that I do appreciate. Thank you very much. Can I ask you, Doc Lingra, to come through?
Oh, thank you, Ango Jets. What I just wanted to say was that sometimes you just need to be accountable as people. When we get things wrong, we should be able to come back and admit that we got it wrong, like what Wopol has just simply said. We've got people like on our space, we've got people that supported this, we've got people that supported Geza, and people had hope. And those people that are in jail now, some of them might even have been influenced by what people on our space were actually saying. And they are now there in jail, and nobody's going to look after them, and they don't have a leader to turn to, like this person is there. And what is very ironic as well is when Nelson Chamisa posted his tweet with a giraffe that spoke a lot. People wanted him to join, but he did not. That tweet spoke a lot. So at the end of the day, I'm just saying we've got people that say this thing is all right, this thing is all right. Yes, it's true. Speak your mind, say what you want. But when you get things wrong, you should be able to come back and say, I, Doc Lingra, was wrong. I apologize, guys. I was wrong. Because the moment we start admitting when we are wrong, then the nation will move forward. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. I do appreciate. Right. Mwendas, do you want to come in? Your 3 minutes starts from now.
Oh, thank you, Yamashita Mofo. Thank you. I would like to say Rome was not built in one day. I still stand with the Geza. He's somebody who's got the balls and he was firm. He challenged Mnangagwa, and you can see the shaking of the corridors of power. Rachamisa, we salute him. He took us to elections. Sadak gave us that report, and we, even Oppo has a GIE for a few days. We salute him. He was struggling. So you see, guys, commenting after people who are trying something, it's so bad to say they've failed. They've not failed. They've tried something. And right now, Geza, don't rule him out. He's still working on it. No matter how we can differ on the process which he's trying to do, let's give him space. And I'm telling you, if Geza bring us freedom or something different, we are all gonna benefit from that. Myself, anybody here, when you try something, I'll be on your side and support you. But as long you don't step up and do something, I'm not gonna support you now until anybody will step up to challenge this regime. I'm gonna support him, and you will never stop me. Myself, I will stand with Geza, and I'm not ashamed to support Geza even today. I will support him because I know the pot is still being cooked. Sadarita, and you guys, you are already talking about this failure. He hasn't given up. He hasn't given up. Even Wachamisa, he hasn't given up. He's still working on his way. So let's support each other, Zimbabwe, to fight this regime. I will stand with Geza any day, and I'm waiting. I'm very hopeful something is gonna come up. Love you all, my citizens. God bless you.
Right. Thank you very much. I appreciate. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I do appreciate. Right. Can I bring in Godfrey? Godfrey, take the mic, please.
Thank you so much, Uncle Gerald, co-host Titus, and Muri Zimbabwe, and I hope Nkuma hope Republic space. Thank you so much. Ndemashoko akawanda zvangu ndinoda kutaura, but what I want to say is kuti my citizens, I personally think let's trust the process. We have no option. The opposition alone cannot remove President Idi Mnangagwa because we are disjointed and not united as an opposition. Fear is our greatest failure as citizens, as witnessed with the turnout on the 31st March 2025. Damn. Mnangagwa is much more powerful, therefore, than VP Chiwenga. Would rather jointly work together to remove President Mnangagwa. And you will be more, and the president, the VP Chiwenga, will be more willing to neglect than Mnangagwa, who is taking advantage of his age. VP Chiwenga knows that he will face the law because he is too young. He would negotiate to leave a legacy and get people to forgive him. So let's trust the process, my citizens. Ndo maonera angu. Sadza richiri kubikwa iri, regai timbovapa chance. Because hapana hakuna kumira nema citizens. Saka Comrade Geza. Nini andama chingomira Comrade Geza kuti I know kuti it's a process inotora nguva impeachment, but we'll get there. Pane kuti tiregere 2030 dynasty ichienda mberi. Macitizens pafunge ipapo ati manyai naageza ndo bhora riri kumhanya izvi ndo bhiza riri kumhanya panguva ino. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you very much. For that, I do appreciate. Oma, do you want to come in? Omata, do you want to come in, please? Atananguwa mkoma, be jiffy in on this. Right. Okay. Bartholomew, do you want to come in?
Thank you very much, Angojits. Thank you very much, Moftetas and Mr. Oppo. I see you are connecting. Maybe you are still here. Look, man, I like the way Mr. Oppo is elaborating things to say, let's not just project any obvious failure when we go to opinions and suggestions. Even if someone's option or suggestion failed, let's not try to take it as an advantage of denigrating someone down. Like as I'm looking at this thing, I still got a feeling that we are running into conclusion as quick not as quickest as we can. I'm not saying this case, I think, can be successful 100% or whatever, but I still believe it might leave a certain dent in this revolution, and it might leave some couple of cracks and wounds within the ruling party. Because my question to you, Angojet, when the current president was fired, how many people were on the interface rally praising Robert and Grace? They were praised a lot, and there were huge multitudes of people, not even what we are seeing right now. There were a lot of them. My question is, do you think all those people, they are just being swayed off and swept away or engulfed by the Lacoste faction? The answer is no. And this succession debate, it won't end in peace there within there. No matter whatever we can say, Mr. Bombshell, whatever, there is still some higher temperatures within there. Let's not underestimate Comrade Geza at the moment. Let's wait and see. Let's not jump into conclusion to say, it's failed. No, it's fishing. Sometimes you need to wait for the hook inside the water. Doesn't mean you just drop it and you catch. Sometimes you relax. So I still believe that we rushed and conclude quickly to say, it's failed already. We might be surprised. Because me, I still believe that the other faction, which is not the Lacoste one, they are still there and they want something on the table. And this general now, which we are saying, is finished. Me, I still believe that guy have got strength. I can say so. He got some strength. His removal from that party gonna leave a very huge crack within the party. Many thanks.
Thanks, my brother, for that. Thank you. All right, who's the next one coming? Can I go to Signoro? Signoro.
Ndikuno mhofu ngaititaure kana chitaura batai mazwe. The $1 million question is, what is it that we know about Zimbabwe? We still have the history of Zimbabwe that is still not been known what has been going on. Fast forward, the 2017, even if it's still, we are treated like third-class citizens. There's no prophet here, there's no Sangoma here. We have moved from a phase where we're very crazy about V11. Here we are as pronounced by the speakers, including Hopewell Alpana. We are living in a world of conspiracies. We cannot do that. If you follow what I'm saying, there's no leeway for me, you, and all of us to understand exactly what is happening in Zimbabwe. The situation is complicated beyond what the House of Lords said, and we, for the longest time, been in denial. We came to find out what is joke in line with what we are discussing here, and I want to say eloquently, without fear of being victimized, thank God I don't report to anyone. I'm not a political activist. It is both a decoy and reality. Why I'm saying so? Moto says Mutukutsi. It is now counterintelligence at play. And it's a fact. Unless we are a country that is lost its mind, 1 minute we understand that we are dealing with the machinery, a well-orchestrated crime syndicate, which I believe is not pick and never cover, no matter how strong, no matter how billionaires are surrounding MNANGAGWA. The day shall come when we are going to celebrate. So having said that, it means pakasungwa notare. So to destroy this animal, they will be surprised. Ndiani pana angati nyepera kuti akanga achiziva kuti will have a voice of reason that is spoken, signal given, and here we are, we're waiting further from an old man, apera basa. It means there is an open secret. We talk of factionalism in isolation, randomly. It is factional fights at play. I repeat, it's factional fights at play. Right to the top, joke, check, we're careless to find out when we talk of corridors of power. Who is the man in charge of corridors in
Right. If you can land in 30 seconds, Senor. Senor, if you can land in 30 seconds, we're just giving 3 minutes each. Right. Okay. I think
on a phone.
It's landed. Okay. Right. Let me move on to Mof, you can come in.
Hello, Titus, Mofela, and the Samanyanga. Guys, sadza richiri kukwata apa muri kuti sei risati rapakurwa. Right now hatina opposition and izvozvo zvinofanira kugara zviri paforefront yebrain dzemunhu wese. Hatina opposition yatina right now. We only have a leader asina party. Zvekuti nhasi chaichaiwo amana ivo akati mudharawo yatironge. Nero anotogona kutanga kutsvaga kuti saka ndoenda nani manje. Apa ari kufunga vanhu vakamubhitireya vese ndo vanhu vaifamba navo. Saka andotanga kuda kutanzadzira kuti ndodi asi kuti ndototora Titus kudiaspora nana village kunana JL ndoita sei ndotora ana Owen Chari here. Saka hapana opposition right now. Saka munhu nemunhu ane responsibility yekumira in a certain position yaanoona kuti position ndo inenge inomuitira. Ana Mudarageza vari kuratidza kuti hondo haisati yapera ende toziva kuti chakarohwa naMudarageza nevamwe vake ichichi ngimukoma iye nezuro akati inonzi check, haisi checkmate. Saka ipapo ndakapabata inonzi check. Saka check manje zvainoita ndezvekuti haidzokereke kumashure because chinhu chavakatokanda ichiri hachakakandwa chinotaurwa naEnzo Cheche kuti watoudza mukuru wenyika kuti uri mbavha uri mhondi unotora vakadzi vevanhu uchiita sei wakauraya nhingi nanhingi. Saka zvoreva kuti inoto treason in normal time. Saka vana Mudarageza hapana weye kuti vanodzokera mumashure. Chero vakambotaura zvekuti impeachment inokwanisa kunge nyaya isingatozosvika kure kwese ikoko. Dzimwe nhau dzichauya pamberi apo kana tadzoka. Ndangondikusiyirei time. I yield my time ndoda kupa next speaker kuti angowedzera dzasara dzacho. But musavhunduke, musanyanye kuda kumhanyira sadza risati raibva. Regai sadza riibve mushe mushe. Mazimba ane problem yekuti haade zvinhu zvinononoka. Ane hana inokurumidza yarova stereki. Tiri kubva kure guys, kure kwekure kunotyisa. Zvinoda patience zvinhu izvi. Siyai Madhara aite zvaari kuita because vari kudzidzira kuorganize. Vanhu veZANU PF havana kujaira kuorganize because vajaira command. Vanokuziva kuti kana muchida unganidza 1 million men unotuma mamwe mabhazi kwaMurehwa, mamwe kwaMutare, mamwe anoenda kuChipinge, kwaMusume kwakanzi bhazi rangu handicharioni kuya. Unotora vanhu voya muHarare vozara voita vanoita vozongosiyiwa vakadaro vozonei kuti tamba yake atamba yake. Saka vapinda kuside rekuti raakuda organization. That's why uchiona zvinhu zvacho zvichiita kunge zvisina kunyatsoti but haiwa tiri munzira, zvinhu zviri munzira. Dzimwe nhau tichazokudzai pamberi apa.
All right. Thank you so much, Mof, for that. Echoes again that Rome was not built in a day. Right. Let's move on to Ometa. Can you speak now?
Oh yes.
Please go ahead. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Thank you. MaZimbabweans, chekutanga ngatimbomirai pfungwa dzekuita unge Geza ari ega ati disappointa. Ndiri kunzwa vanhu vakawanda vari kutaura nemazwi aya ekuratidza kuti haativhiringa ati disappointa. Iwo akaitepa akamudedza pano, hapana chawakaita. Zvese zvemaconstitutional legalities zvese what impeachment munyika medu mamushande constitution. Zvaimbotaurwa kuti naiwe Daddy Hope ava kuti izvi gore ramuchada freedom ka muchambomira nyaya yekuda kuita zvirango zvamunoda kuita tigodai ma-MPs akatengwa aya zvinozikanwa. Hakuna ma-MP munyika medu hakuna. Tiri kuedza kuda kurwisa a-beast but munoda kushandisa chiform 6 nekurwa nema-beast. Hazviitwe izvozvozvo. Chimbomirai kuti kugumbuka kana kupera simba moti Geza is an individual. Akaita ignite a fire ngatibudei tirwe. Vamwe vanga vari skeptical aiwa zvigodai saka wauri kuda kuti akuitire ndiani. Chamisa hapana chaanoita. Anenge angogara achiposta zvake majirafa ake uye haana basa. Akatorakidza kuti haanei nazvo zviri kuitika. Saka wamuri kuda kuti azokuitira ndiani. Unoda kuitirwa nani? Geza aenda pamberi atanga moto. Chienda wakaunotora huni, haudi kutora huni. Wakuda kutotorwa nehuni nezvese wotanga kubikirwa. No. Don't give up. Pane zviri kuitika. Havana kupusa. Hondo yavatanga haiite kuti vadzoke kumashure because inenge yatoo treason. Hazviite kuti vadzokere kumashure. 2028 panouraiwa vanhu ava. Vanotozviziva. Saka musakurumidze maneta. Iyi inogona itori decoy zviri kutaurwa nevanhu kuti decoy yekunzi hanzi impeachment. Impeachment judiciary ndeye-ZANU-PF, ndeya-EMMERSON. Ngatiti ndeya-EMMERSON. Ndiye muridzi wezvese. Chitsotsi chese chiri kuitika munyika hapasina ya-private company, hapasina zvese zvana constitution what. MuZimbabwe hamushande constitution, munoshanda zveginya, zveginde. Tozotanga kuti tombodissolva zvese, tozotangira iye abva because ndo common enemy yedu. Whether you are CCC, MDC, disgruntled ZANU-PF, one common enemy yedu yatasangana naye ndiye-EMMERSON. Ndiye munhu atanga kuba zviri legendary zvinotaurwa navamabhunu. Ndiye atanga kuba zvinosemesa munyika medu. Saka ngatimborwisa iyeye nekambani yake. Chete zvekuti government minister what mudhenda vese matsotsi aya. Hapana kana we are running on auto. Hapana kana anything chiri formal chinoitika munyika medu. Private company haya fire. Saka chimbomirai kuti kuona kunge Geza ndiye ganga achifana kubuda okurwirai oenda kumba kwa-EMMERSON omutora omusunga oti famba door to door achitora vanhu hazviitika. Iwe wanga uchifana kubuda.
You are 30 seconds.
Wanga uchifana kubuda wewe. Akaedza initiated. Saka isusu ngatiwanei plan B and don't feel unge zvinhu zvadhakwa. Hazvina kudhakwa. Rome was not built in a day, guys. This is a beast we're fighting. Hazvitore 2 days. No. Tichambata chete. But you all play your part. Usangorwadziwa uri muyadhi uchiti koma zoita sei iwo waitei. Ndo pane basa ipa. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I point to you. You point to Ombe of you because that is the immediate reaction might be saying, "Come there, we that say." But you know, the points that have been raised, but guys, it's his life on the line, and we are looking at the situation. The consequences is say because this is not easy.
No.
Saga, I want to believe there's something to this madness here. We might think Kutizo is going astray. I mean, he's gone another day, or is watering it down, or is what. But there must be something to this. And you know what? Sometimes it is sometimes it is important to read beyond what is there. Go beyond what is there in the reading of the room. Yes. Read beyond, what is there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. Can I go to Onchari, please?
Mandikangano ndakwira ndiri kunzi kwawo.
Aiwa achimbobira sari kusati achimbobira wakwira by much.
Line up Trukuya. It's a time your own Chari.
Thank you, Uncle Jedza Tetas. Right. I want to say, first and foremost, I'm not apologizing to anyone. I still stand by my position. I support Geza because he is fighting a common enemy with me. So I'm still behind him and I'm still supporting him. When the war started, the first attack was done in Chinoy, the 7 heroes, of it. When they were defeated, They went back to a drawing table. They came, I think, 3 or 4 times. The Magandanga, Achirowa, but they did not stop from there. Vakaenda vakadzingwa naKenneth Kaunda. Mozambique ndopa yakabva yawana independence. Vavazonomaunda vari kuMozambique. They were still coming back to fight. Vaiti vakarohwa vodzokera vodzoka. So hazvishamise, but to me, Geza hasati arohwa because it's just 2 days into the struggle of someone who's been in power for 7 years, and plus the other 37 years he was in the government by 1980. So amungamutarisire kumubvisa in 48 hours. So I'm still standing with him. I support him. I would have wanted to engage Daddy Hope on the issue ambotaura kuti ambulance and whatever. We have discussed that with him. If he was here, I was going to engage him on that part. And he was actually told the way to go, which was not going to Nelson Chamisa straight. He was told to go to a committee, and then he was supposed to do that, and he did not do that. So I mean, I wanted to actually engage him. I wrote to Ango Jedza in his inbox to say, please, can you allow me to engage Oppo on that aspect? But on this aspect, kuti Geza asatata guys. Why is it we are celebrating the fails of him, or we are anticipating him to fail? Yet all of us, we want freedom. Why are we celebrating as if we are supporting Mnangagwa? Why are we watering down his efforts instead of kuti amana Geza apa watadza apa, but toda kubatana apa so that we improve in this? But everyone is just saying he failed. Vachiseka, muri kuita kuseka kuita dambe with somebody who have put his life on the line, somebody who is trying right now with his age. He is not gaining anything because he's already on his o'clock. He's towards the end of his life. He's got nothing to lose. Even those who are saying he should have apologized to us, his age already is telling him that your life is going to the end, towards the end. He's doing it for us and for our
30
children.
seconds, Owen.
He's doing it for our children. Saka kuti tifare tichita atadza newo futi watotadza because you are doing nothing. What have you done iwewe personally? Thank you.
Right. Apedza charero.
Ndandipedze zvangu
Sorry, yeah, Peza, yes. Sorry, yeah. Thanks, Owen. You're sticking to your guns. You're remaining with what you said in the beginning. Thanks for that. Right. Let's move to truth of the matter. Truth of the matter. Right. If he's not there, can I move on to Child of Zimbabwe, please?
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you again for this platform. Thank you, everyone. Inini nauntuda kutanga kwenda ku constitution. Until the state and the National Assembly by joint resolution passed by at least 1/2 of their total membership. That's the first thing that is needed for them. Kutwatange impeachment. Half of both houses. It's not half of each house. Let's get that one. It's there. My reasons are not the Torah, chapter 97. But I also want to go into okay. As I said, I am not a party member of any party. I'm just a concerned Zimbabwean. Saka inini pfungwa dzangu function in the way politicians work. I'm not a politician. But I'm going to start on a point that you people are not looking at. Now that this has happened, this has now changed the game to be a ZANU working to keep ZANU in power. That means pakatumirwa vanhu kuzotaura nyaya, discussing and he sent them away, that thing. But there must have been a resolution that has made them to want to keep their brothers. Because an impeachment keeps your brother there. It doesn't get you into a direct confrontation. It's over kind of thing. That's one thing that I also noticed. I noticed. I don't know if anybody else noticed that. Then there's also another thing that I wanted to find out. I'm not really versed on when somebody is said to be mentally incapacitated. Ndatanga kuvhunduka kuti saka nyika yedu iri kutongwa nemunhu asiri kukwanisa kuita simple decisions. That was one of the most scary things that
Right. Did you receive a phone or something? A phone call? Okay, child of Zimbabwe, we can't hear you if you're still speaking.
Am I still there? Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay. My network, I don't know what's happening with my Wi-Fi. Somebody who's mentally incapacitated. If a person is mentally incapacitated, I don't know about Zimbabwean law, whether it's going to allow kuti munhu ari mentally incapacitated anzi aita resignation. Kana pamwe akazoenda kupa mapiritsi akapora ndinozoti resignation iyoyo ndakaita ndiri mentally incapacitated took advantage of me. That's one thing that I was also thinking. With mental incapacitation, does it allow him to make a resignation when he is mentally incapacitated? Then another thing that I also wanted to check, I did go through to the ZANU-PF constitution. Because that's one thing that we also have to be looking at. In-house, this is an in-house fight. When we no longer want our leader, Tiripati Panapa, Isuzu Tiripati, Uncle Jeta is our president. When we no longer want him because he's mentally incapacitated, what is our constitution saying? But unfortunately, apa elaborate with. So I think as an opposition, you should be having intellectual, intelligence. Yes, you should be having an intelligence section that's going out to getting that information. But knowing that the way things are now, but eventually I do hope you get to that stage. Then
right, 20 seconds.
20 seconds. How deep is deep state level? Comrade Geza is the last part that we need to think about. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, everyone. Viva Zimbabwe.
Viva. That question, it can only be answered by very, very few people. How deep is his state level? Very few people would answer that. Right. Can I quickly move on to Son of Sada? 3 minutes, please.
Hey, Linjani lonke lapha. How are you, fellow Zimbabweans? Am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. First and foremost, I would just want to add my voice to the people that are rallying behind the Comrade Geza. Anything that works for Zimbabwe, I support that. We have suffered as Zimbabweans. Anything that makes sure ZANU-PF is in trouble, we will support. And also, I want also to highlight, maybe I'm just a political novice, what, but I think in imwe kana tikasave vigilant, if we are not going to be vigilant, so change the ED, because when we saw him dishing out, those cars to socialize and what have you, it also meant could behind the scenes, people that matter within the political power matrix, angatopedza nawo kudhara zvekuti money is changing hands. Even right now, I don't even trust our parliament. There are a lot of things that are happening there. You see, even if you check kuti even resistance yakaitwa nema MPs edu, like ma resolutions anga achisiri achifamba ne one direction, umwe nomwe anga kungoita zvake, hada kutaura zvaanoda. So you find kuti nyika yatozara zvigananda, ndo zvakatobata chigaro. Ndanga ndichidawo futi kuwana mukana naDaddy Hope, ndaona vanenge vadziruka zvavo. Pane nyaya ndichida kuti denda ndanzwisisawo yavati vakasosa what madonations emaambulensi, but ivo vaisakwanisa kuzvidonata because then ZANU-PF yaizoti iye ndiye aizowana accolade what, so zvaifanira kuuya through Chamisa. Surely, how can munhu say such an issue yakadhakwa kudaro yokuti anouya achiti vana Chamisa vakaramba? Munhu airambidzwa kusima miti Chamisa, ndiye waiti aigona kuti oreceiva maambulensi zvotonzi chamisa aunza maambulensi, asi Daddy Hope ngavarege kujairira vanhu chokwadi. I don't know hangu kuti zvinhu zvake zvinombofamba sei, but sometimes let us learn to be vanhu vanotaura zvinhu zvinoita zvinokwanisika kunzwisisika neruzhinji. And also nyaya yetolerance yavataura ndaifarira, but again let me quickly highlight kuti it's unfortunate handichamoni, but let me quickly highlight kuti he is one of the intolerant people vari pamasocial spaces aya. He blocks even
30 seconds.
ukada kuita divergent views, he will just simply block you. But in a nutshell, maZimbabweans ngatibatanei, but vatengesi mukati medu vakawanda, ndo zvinhu zviri kudzosa salvation yedu, freedom yedu. Tine vanhu vanozoenda kuregime vanosimwa mukati medu zvakare vachinopa feedback. Saka kuti tinyazoita chinhu one chaiko zvinenge zviri kutonetsa mene kuti I don't know hangu, but all thanks to Comrade Geza vari kuzamawo zvavanokwanisa, but also on the other hand vanenge vatochenjedza MNANGAGWA. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, brother, for that. I think Chadzoka to to respond if you want to. Right. Can I move on to Max?
Thank you very much, my brother Titus and Uncle Jed. Inangu alidawanta zvakawanda adangotaura hangu shoma nchingoti kune maZimbabweans tese tiri panapa. Big up kuna Mundarageza, because Mundarageza ndiye munhu pare zvino atombokwanisa kumira nyika ikavharwa. Do you know how much Zimbabwe, how much was lost zuva rakasina kushanda vanhu? A lot of money. That's why makazona mangwana acho hurumende yakuti tinokumbirawo kuti vanhu vaende kumabasa nokuda kwaMundarageza. Kana mapurisa akapisa fuyo isingaiti mumataundi, masoja achimanya. So big up kuna Mundarageza, and tinokumbirisa kune maZimbabweans ari kunyanya kuanalyze. Maanalyze, please, we had ma solution. Kwete kuyangoanalyze Geza agoni zvakati atazviona iwe uri kuitei. Busy kunotiverengera zvimanotes zvinati basa zvamunotiverengawo. Yes, nombada maviews ari different, but please, for now, we are ne solution. We are nezvauri kuronga wewe umboti, okay guys, ini ndafunga kuti dai Geza adai so, dai taitawo so. As Zimbabweans, what are we going to do? Zvipi zvatingaitawo isusu sevanhu kuti okay, Geza ari kupushawo nezvaari kuda kupusha zveimpeachment, whatever, maybe it's a decoy. Isusu ngachizama kuitawo ABCD. Not ungoita busy kuya kuanalyze zviri kuitwa nevamwe. When are we going to analyze our own things that tiaplana isusu as citizens? Hapana vatiri kumboplana pana, tingori busy ngoya ngoti Mundarageza azodai, deep state yakamira kadai, ndazonzwa zvakadai, constitution kudai. Ko isusu chichatara mboronga ipo pano patinosangana every day. Tinosangana panapa every day. We are all being affected neZANU-PF. So atama kumahopo vati we are all victims here. Tiri ma-victim tese panapa. But what are we doing as victims so that tona kuti isusu kuti mangwana toitawo anything tinobetsera kuZimbabwe? Yes, we can donate. Tikana tikadonata zviri kunetsa. Ma-MP takadonata ine zvavakutopuwa kuti dzimwe mota dzechi2. Vamwe vacho vatove kwaChabangu. Vamwe vacho atombozivi kuti vakamira nani ikoko kuparliament apo. Titombozivi kuti chii chavari kubudisa. Tinawo ma-MP ari panapa, totona honorable wekumarani kwangu ari panapa. Naye honorable, ko makambo hapana kana musi one vamunombogara pasi sema-MPs iko kuti guys, isusu sema-MPs let's do ABCD. Tione kuti ngediende mberi, vanhu vari kusafa. Timbobuda kutaura kana one statement rinongoti vanhu vari kutambura. Hapana. Tinongoziva muchikotaura amene vamunotaura muparliament mune muchingodya lunch here, I don't know. So as Zimbabweans, it's high time kuti guys, tizataunza hatina ma-leaders. So what can we do? Ipo pama-space papapo, so that we push the struggle, so that we support ona Mundarageza. So atofana kuya titaura panapa kuti dai tadai so musocial media imomo, dai tadai so tipanane ma-solutions. How can we help this struggle? How can we help so that Mundarageza atipusha nouko, isu tokombawo nouko, tipusha nouko, end of the day towana a desired goal. Atungoda tese kuti Zimbabwe ive yakanaka. This thing of analyzing and ngosvora mwana kuti chichi nechirungu tisina nebasa. Please, ndamoerenga zvimabhuku zvenyu zvimajona ukoko, munyore ma-exercise ikoko kuya nazvo pano paTwitter. Hazviunzi Zimbabwe izvozvo. We had ma-solutions. Kwete nechirungu tisina basa.
Right. Thank you, Max. And we had ma-solutions. Don't be too technical or analytic. That's Max. All right. Thank you so much. Right, you mentioned the Honorable, is it Darlington Chigumbu? Chigumbu, can I bring you into the conversation, please? Darlington?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I think I've been following the conversation and the submissions that are being made here. I think there are a lot of, it's unfortunate that as a nation, we are faced with a lot of challenges, but we have not deliberately tried to seek the truth. Sometimes my heart bleeds when I listen to people saying a lot of things that are not true, especially pertaining what's happening in Parliament, and distorting how things are done in Parliament. It's unfortunate, and I look up to people like Daddy Hope to educate the nation in terms of how Parliament works and what Parliament can do. I don't think we are, as a Parliament, we're an alpha and omega to, the solutions to the things that are currently affecting the nation. But let me quickly get into the discussion. Iripo, there's an ancient wisdom that I like, which says there is an insatiable desire in each and every human being, to will to something. The desire is such a huge to an extent that it would rather will to nothing than to not will at all. I feel as a nation, zvinonomira zvakanaka, tiri kungofunga kuti pangaitike something here. To an extent that sometimes we end up overlooking the importance of strategy and also the importance of being truthful to ourselves as a nation. I really appreciate people like Baba Geza. He is trying his best. He has got that right as a citizen to do whatever he thinks will help the nation deal with the problems that is being faced by our beautiful country. It is also a right kune munhu wese ari paspace ipo panapa kuitawo zvaanofunga kuti zvinobatsira nyika. But inini mafungiro angu ndeyekuti we need to really look at the problem yatakafisana nayo. Problem yedu, I don't think, is all about an individual. Problem yedu ndeye system. Our struggle should not be to remove an individual. Our struggle should be to deal with the system that we have. And chiri kunetsa pa-approach yana Baba Geza kuti ibatanidze vanhu vese ndechekuti is it a genuine realization yekuti the citizens are suffering, or it is because their hold on to power is now being threatened? This is a genuine question we need to answer. Without answering that question, tinoya pano tigotukana, tigoaccusana, tigoita sei, but we will never be able to be united because zvinonzi people are willing to suffer as long as they are suffering for a cause. That's why you can spend the whole night reading books because you've got an exam. That suffering excites you because there is a cause in it. People are willing to support Vana Baba Geza, but I feel many people are not seeing the cause. Is this for us as the citizens? Why are they now raising my voice izvezvi? When this system was growing, they are the ones vaikudza system yakutinetsai, and they were quiet. They were not saying anything. You didn't hear Geza complaining when Senator Timber was arrested. You didn't hear him complaining. You didn't hear Geza in 2023 when ZANU-PF delayed delivering ballot papers. They didn't complain. They were helping the system to entrench. They were helping the system to grow. So now the problem is vanhu vari kunyasoshaya kuti what is the cause? Are we fighting to genuinely liberate the people, or we are fighting to have a certain faction in a certain political party get an advantage? So I think we need to start to have genuine deliberations as a nation to say, gentlemen, what do we need to achieve? I'm not dismissing their efforts. It is good. Ngavaite zvavanoita. But it is unfortunate kuti taakusvika kunoshora handitika because pane mumwe angosimukawo neimwe nzira yake, but at the end of the day handitika tichatadza kuachieve anything as a nation because now we are being made to focus on an individual, yet our problem haisi an individual, problem a system. That's why even after we've removed Mugabe, the problems akatoita worse. It is because of the system. So I don't know, I don't want to say much, but chandinongoda kutaura kunyanya kunana Mukoma Hope, it is you've got an obligation, Mukoma Hope, as a journalist to educate the nation, really truthful, especially in terms of what happens in Parliament, what the limitations or what the Parliament can do, because now it feels like everyone else thinks that nyaya 2030 inofana kutanga nekuperera kuParliament. It is not the truth, and we are being accused of not doing something. Citizens, let me tell you this. There's nothing that we can do to Parliament as long as the issue isati yaunzwa kuParliament. Nyange mukati tukasei, nyange mukati takatengwa, nyange mukati takapiwa mota, there is nothing that we are going to do as long as there's no motion in Parliament, as long as there's no bill in Parliament regarding this issue. What you have done, if you go up on my Twitter accounts, you can see our opinion over the matter. We have clearly proclaimed ourselves.
If I can land in the next minute, I've given you a bit of a leeway as a MP. Uncle, if you can check your inbox.
Right. No,
please,
I've seen it.
So I'm saying if you check it, my social handles among my MPs, they have pronounced themselves clearly to say we don't support 2030. That's the only thing we can do for now, because we have got nothing before the Parliament regarding this issue. But you have people insulting us, saying Magapiwa Mari, Magadi. We've got no motion before Parliament regarding 2030. We have got no bill in Parliament regarding 2030. It's like accusing a judge. Why are you not giving a judgment to a matter that is not been brought before the courts? So I just don't understand how push narratives. It hurts me because we are genuine. I think we need to find a common ground. President Nelson Chamisa has tried his best. Wakawanda, they are trying their best. But I don't understand. Maybe that's how the system works, or the punishment cheating. Every time when we are supposed to be united, we are divided. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. I like a phrase that says ex nihilo nihil fit. Out of nothing comes nothing. As long as there's nothing, there's no common goal that we're fighting for. I'm telling you, vanhu vachasungwa vagoita sei vamwe vagofa neBP, vamwe vagoramba vari hopeful, but pasina chinhu chinobudira. I think we need to find a common ground as a nation and address our challenges. We even need that ZANU-PF guy also on the table, because people are suffering. Why can't we not be united for once as a nation to say, gentlemen, this is our country? Like, what hits me the most, I've got no other country. I love my country wholeheartedly. Why can't we unite for once as a nation? Even those who are in power. Unfortunately, people who are always dividing people, there are people who are always pushing false narratives about others. I don't see it helping anyone. Thank you. That's
right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Wopo, do you want to come in there?
So much has been said tonight. People have said a lot. There's a reason why premature ejaculation requires treatment. It's not desirable. What I want to say is we sometimes overanalyze things. let's wait until tomorrow and see what happens.
Avana vona ndakuzwa nyaya
Let's let's wait until tomorrow. So
Right.
no somebody say I think we have said so many things.
Yeah, we have said enough for tonight.
No, I'm saying in the past 2 weeks, there's been a lot of analysis. Some of it has been correct, some of it has been a miss. But I think based on what Geza has said, and what other colleagues are saying in the media, let's wait until tomorrow.
Do you have more information? The way you are putting it, I like it because you seem to be very subtle. But anyway.
Titus, you unondifungisa madhara ekumushaya ekuti ukamuudza something anotry find a way yekuti utaure. No, all I can say is let's wait until tomorrow and see how tomorrow goes as a day. There's a lot of stuff that is being shared amongst media colleagues. I've learned that sometimes we get stuff that is correct, sometimes we get stuff that is not correct. But let's wait until tomorrow. And I request you, Titus and Ango Jed, to have another space tomorrow night. After 24 hours, we'll have a clear idea of actually what's going on. I've posed a question on my Twitter handle. You can go and read my question on my Twitter handle. I've asked the question. I've said I have a question. Has anyone seen President MNANGAGWA today? That's why I'm saying let's wait until tomorrow and see what happens.
Fair enough. Right, fair enough, fair enough. I think that is quite okay. Don't worry. What am I doing tomorrow? Tomorrow I'm going to wake up, eat my breakfast, and nothing.
Honorable Darlington will leave you on there as well on the speakers just in case some might want to engage. But interesting, Opo. All right, we'll wait for the 24 hours. Let's go, Uncle.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much for that. Zim for Us Foundation. Please, can you come through?
Thank you, Uncle, and Titus for the space. Yeah, I have to be careful with how I use my 3 minutes. But thank you, Honorable Darlington, for saying one or two things there. But they say we shall, know the truth, and the truth will make us free. And this is what we're trying to do here as Zimbabweans. Taurana machokwadi. And also, Nkoma hopefully is gone. He's got a bigger platform. He's one of the people that can also do the needful of educating people and transforming the mindset of people. But we must not leave it to Wopwell. It's our duty, all of us, to do it in any way we can. In our small capacity or big capacity, whichever way you may call it. That is the language that we must be speaking now. And again, you may be supporting Comrade Geza as a member of parliament, but what we need to understand as Zimbabweans right now is that the parliament does not work anymore. Whether you want a certain thing or not, parliament has been captured. We understand that. And that's not the tool at the moment that we can use until we've fixed our complex problem. You rightly said it, the system. And that's what we need to be dealing with. And then going to Geza, Geza has done something that hasn't been done in a long time. And we support him, for doing that. He's like a springboard. And I think what we need to do as Zimbabweans is not to be doing the microwave stuff, like Rome was not built in a day. People have said it. I think Titus repeated that. This is the beginning of something that has been initiated by Comrade Geza, and this battle must not be hired to Geza only. We need to help him in any way we can. Chero mubhaibheri macho pane vana Caleb, vana Joshua, vana Moses, vakatangisa zvinhu and all that. So that's the language we should be speaking as Zimbabweans. Quite to be spoon-fed. Now we come here, we're disappointed because Geza hasn't taken us to Canaan. Who told you Canaan is going to be a 2 days thing, a microwave stuff? We need to chuck that mindset out. Chuck it out. Whether it's going to take us maybe 10 years, 3 years, 2 months, so be it. Let's come together as Zimbabweans. We are good enough to come together in our millions, 16 million people, 3 million in South Africa, suffering because of these Ziganandas. And Chimdara Chagatangisa, something that shook them.
30 seconds, my brother, 30 seconds.
Okay. So something that closed the country. That was a success. Let's take it from there and take it to another level. That's all I have to say about that. Let's not be weak people. Let's help him. Let's help one another.
Right.
Get our country back.
Right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Right. Can I bring in ONGAP into the conversation?
Thank you, Tsa. Honestly speaking, Inini, I'm hurt. I know when I initially came here, I was skeptical and I pointed on some of the symbolisms that were pointing doubt in the initiative again. But there were other symbols that came that gave us direction to say he might have the backing of what made it successful last time. So I got stimulated, and honestly speaking, I was ready, wait and read. And this feels like, I know Did Hope said premature ejaculation, it's not, it's probably erectile dysfunction because chirikuramba kutosumuka chinhu chacho. However, I'm still stimulated. I'm speaking on a personal level because some of these things, in as much as we want magic to be done somewhere else, there's stuff that we need to do individually. And I've shared some ideas and thoughts here. And Ndambo send a message kuna Uncle Jed, hearing some big minds sharing some of the things that I've said before. So in as much as I was doubting myself in how I can participate in this, on my individual level, I'm going to do what I can do. What we are fighting against is the ideology that Zimbabwe yakauya nehondo. And we really need to convince ourselves kuti kana ivo vachiti vakaisunungura vakaisungirira pamakumbo avo ende vari kuramba vachifamba nayo. And we need to come up with strategies that can fight that. What Geza has done, like I said before, Geza is a bishop on this chess game, and he has been loud. But the rooks and some of us, the pawns and the castles, the knights need to come out. The queen needs to come out for us to have a checkmate on this game. So in as much as yes, we might say this is over, I think I'm left with 30 seconds now. There are takeaways. Initially, in 2017, we just said we are targeting the criminals around the president. On this M31, we labeled the people and what they are doing. That is progress. When we then look back and say, Kuti, what were the factors that led to the liberation of our country? And we are highlighting those factors. We will point out at some of these successes. So let us not be dismayed. We can still do what we need to do. This is just mid-game. We need to push this into the end game and make sure we did not shake up a checkmate. Everyone in your capacity. I wanted to say, sorry, I'm over time. This revolution needs to move from Gaza and we need to brand it. When we had a cry for Sudan, everyone had their profile pictures blue. We need to come up with something that we can brand and make noise on an individual levels on our accounts. There are certain things that need to happen on a small level that just shows the solidarity.
Right. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate. Thank you very much. Right. Let me go to Honorable Dr. Patson Samuel Banda.
Thank you, Mkoma Jedza. Thank you, Mkoma Tidas. I cannot see Mkoma Wopu. My brother, Honorable Darlington Chigubu, is still here. I want to say thank you to all of you and to all Zimbabweans listening. Abutenda is Chose. Panyaya wa Geza, I think that's Sanyeperane Wagomana. Mdara uyu arova basa rekuti vanhu vashoma shoma vanogona kuita basa rakadaro. So the momentum that he has raised up, that's almost the momentum yakatanga na Save in 1999 or before that actually. Which is 1999 when the fourth party was formed. Atinangotanga zvese boom kuti takangotanga nema demonstrations achobudira ese one time. Quite must stay away, so Geza is in the correct path. And he's somebody who analyze, like he has been said, he is doing what all Zimbabweans have at heart. Now, in Parliament, there are a number of ways of raising issues so that they can be addressed. The main two that will give a result of whatever emotion raised by a member of Parliament or supported by another member, or it's a bill which comes through the minister. So herein lies the problem. If you are trying to raise a motion, a bill, there are two ways of raising a bill. The first one is a public bill, minister, particularly relevant minister, or the other one is a private member can start. In Zimbabwe, I think there's only been one or two bills which have passed through. So in this case, I hope kuti Mdarageza vaona game multifaceted. Kuti while he's taking the political route, he was also doing the other route behind the scenes, which we do not know. Saka inini chandukumbira Honorable Chigumbu Kwamuri right now is an honorable member who's representing us in Parliament right now. And I'm not talking kuseri is tight pakauya issue. Tanita makokas totaura kumana ngati tota izvi ndo zvatovapo izvi. We cannot say kuti we have to get rid of the system. Yes, the system is going to be, we're going to get rid of it. But right now, the step that is required is to impeach ED. Then whatever happens, we'll then address it after. I could feel a hesitation as if Honorable Aripo apana zvakunoita. And I think that would be a disappointment. Why don't you try it? And then we'll see what teach noitika. People can become excited. Who knew that in 2017 people will be so excited and then Gabi will be impeached? Nobody. But now that it has been thrown into your courts, Honorable Ndima Sarani Chimich, ito use all ways and means. Garai pass, even PF, there are some progressive MPs of ZANU-PF. So that's what those are the kind of like associations that you need to go and look up. chinhu chodi chofambiswa ichi chobuda. So ndomukumbiro wangu kana vamwe vatadza Honorable Chigumbu, because you are here and representing Zimbabweans, madii kunoisa motion yacho iyoyo. Kana yanetsa after mutenda praise panononzi tipewo state of nation address, or do you have any questions that you have to put in? Put a question there, Honorable, so that yes, it's going to take a bit of time, but right now munhu hope. I would have raised one. I tried to raise one in 2021 and it was blocked at that time. But I'm sure right now, the momentum the momentum that we have right now, it can allow you to do that, Honorable Member. I think without saying much, that would be what I'm going to say for now. Because if we just leave Parliament alone, like in 2017, it had to be Parliament and the streets. So these two, we cannot separate them. We need to do both the streets and the Parliament. Parliament, Honorable. I'm also going to talk to a number of MPs who I know here on the space. Uncle Jedza, I want to tell you, Pana MP akauya kuno America in February this year. Nchitaura naye achitotuza kuzondivhizitira anazosvika zvake akatoti ndara patoti ma 200,000 akatodimirira izvezvi. So I will not mention him. Kana muda munonorikisacha kuti who went to America in February akadzokera early March.
And the MP will go opposition. Oh, all right. Okay. All right, okay.
Hey, what I'm telling you is factual.
I don't think I'm a grass.
He called me. Takatotaura. Uri kuno. Because ndakapuwa number. I thought he was now like here. Tikati aiwa no andikutodzokera. Takatopromisa mari. It will be between 120,000 and 200,000, and that was in February. Isusu takabuda isusu anditika pane mari yatakasiwa 40,000 yamaitaura yaya pakatosara imwe mari itodemandiwa izvezvi saka yanga yakuda kutobuda like last month maMP aito mhanya ndakatofonera kuzikanza ndopanakatozikanza Honorable Banda amusi kuziva kuti mari dzenyu dzakuda kutobuda saka pakazotanga chimoto ichi ndipo zvakablokewa. But mari idzodzo pane vatodzimhanyisa idzi kuti dzibude. Saka isusu what we are saying is zvemari izvo vakomana imbosiyaiwo zvemari vakomana ngatisunungurei nyika, then everybody will have happiness. My MPs, you make your own money, there is no problem. And I'm not saying Honorable Chigumbu we're going to be part of that. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, as a voice which is there in Parliament right now, and the momentum which has been started by Honorable Geza, former MP, Honorable Geza, impeachment, because he has also been in Parliament like you. So want to ziva the ways of going about it. Second, that's my prayer. Uncle Jedza kuti dai vatibatsirwa ma MPs aripo right now. I thank you so much.
Naona Honorable Changirai vangu vari panapa pamatangadzara nyaya mari vatsvamaya anozoti zvinhu vatsvamaya nenyaya mari here kana kuti, but anyway, Honorable Changirai kana muripo dzokai nzvimbo yenyu iripo tinokupai preference sekupa kwatiri kuita ma honorable aya. Honorable Darlington, do you care to respond to what the former honorable the honorable said quickly? Pindurai makasununguka tanzwa nyema 200,000 ayakomana ndingokumbira hangu kana ka 100 ya honorable kana mshenge mango kawana mongo contribute kwangu jet nenge big fund ndine vana vandu kushengeta.
Ngoma Jeza tupetsvagawo 200,000 iri papi inenge iri kuwandira social media, but it's fine. I thank you, Honorable, the submissions are made. But one thing that I've also appreciated is how we have highlighted the procedures as they are in Parliament. The unfortunate thing that I would want to make clear per space, I cannot just wake up such a gumbo, don't go to the Parliament, there's a motion impeachment or any funny motion. I think when the time that you are referring to, Honorable, you had the caucus. it's not difficult for us to caucus, especially as an opposition. This is the biggest challenge that we have. So it will be too much of a risk for munhu kuti angomuka ari one ongoti ndakuenda kunodai. It has to be a position here, the collective. So when Honorable Geza said something about impeachment, maybe vanenge vainewo plan yavainayo nevanhu vavakataura navo.
But Honorable Mirai, Honorable, are you telling me could imimi as opposition MPs? Are you telling me that with this opportunity, given how that the 23rd election went, are you telling me that there's no appetite for people to seize such an opportunity, like this, amongst all the opposition MPs that are in there? Are you telling me you are sitting on opposite, sides within in there as my opposition MP side that you cannot coalesce around, this issue and come up, with what the honorable, has requested?
My point, Mkoma Jeza, ndeyekuti we don't initiate a political agenda in parliament. A political agenda must be initiated by the institution that brought me into parliament. So what I'm simply saying is, now ndinobva kumba ndichienda parliament as an individual, because the institution is no longer there. We no longer caucus. So the unfortunate thing is, people want us to start to initiate a political agenda in parliament. Yet whatever political agenda that has to be pushed in parliament, find it sustainable. Near what in outside institution. So isusu as an opposition, hatina patikunogara pasi handitika. Tichiti, this is our political agenda. We have to push it using these fronts, one of the fronts being parliament. I don't know if you're getting me right, Papa.
No, so you are telling me that as it stands, right now in that parliament, you are attending that parliament as individuals. There's no convergence of ideas in terms of what brought you into that parliament, what made you to go into that parliament. You have been so disintegrated to such an extent that angova mazvake.
All right, I think what happened to opposition, it's in the public domain.
Yes, I understand that what happened in the opposition.
So what's happening?
But But I do understand that there are competing interests in there. We have got this Shabangu issue that is in there. But we've had okay right now. Are you telling me that you don't have a leader of the opposition in parliament?
We have a leader of opposition in parliament.
Are you telling me that you do not have a chief whip in parliament?
We all have those. But
so why is it you can't? Honorable, why is it you guys you can't come together under that structure?
Okay, the point that I'm trying to raise is we have all those people that you've mentioned, Angujets, but the people that you've mentioned, they are leading a fractured opposition. So we are there because officially tested under CCC. But it's difficult for people now to caucus because when it comes to how to pursue politics is opposition, is CCC that got into parliament under that banner. So there's no, I don't remember the last time we did a caucus. This is the other aspect that is not being raised. So you put pressure on people like myself. I'm a first-time MP. I would rely on the directive. Your party, I would rely also on the senior members to be at the forefront. But we no longer have that in parliament. So it is difficult for us to coordinate ourselves as opposition. Because whatever happened to opposition was actually meant to strengthen whatever agenda the ruling party. So this is the reality that we must all appreciate. So what I'm simply saying, Jedza, is there's no time. When we got into parliament in 2023, we had caucuses. Taitoenda tonzi caucus kwakamira sei, maizvi achinoreza parliament akamira sei, ninga kutaura nyaya yakati. Tine questions, who is going to to ask a question today, pane point of national interest. You are getting direction from the political leadership. And the caucuses maita chite is parliamentarians. You would have somebody from the party, the secretary, arubva kupata achitibatsira structure agenda ide parliament in relation to the aspirations in the big institution. It's no longer there. So the only time that we cooperate under the chief whip and the lead of government the lead of opposition in parliament is for the purposes of parliamentary business. I don't know if you are getting me there.
No, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing. Is that
this is a problem that has not been brought to light. So you will come here and say Parliament will do A, B, C, D, but it's going to be difficult. Because
so you know what, I'm feeling, I'm struggling here to reconcile what you're what you're telling me, right now, and some of the things that we get, we get to see on social media. We get to see Jason Timber, being out there. We're being told that is representing the real CCC, the one that is affiliated to Nelson Chamisa, or that was once affiliated to Nelson Chamisa, and they've got MPs in parliament. We get notifications, notices that are put out there, statements that are put out there, demanding that the CCC MPs should not behave in this way, in this manner, in this manner, in this manner, in this manner. And yet, you're telling me that in there, you guys are just going in there to recoup whatever it is, that you can recoup from attending, and it is virtually a situation whereby Munango's own era. Just wake up from your house, you go there, you do whatever it is that you need to do, you come back home, and there's no collision of heads. There's no people, coming together. There's nothing that is going on. It's, it is a sorry state. What you're telling me, right now, I don't want to put it, on you, but it is something, that is so disheartening to the millions of the people that supported, the opposition. And, right now, I will not even blame people when they say that we've got no opposition, in Zimbabwe. We've got no opposition in parliament because of some of these things, that you're telling me, right now.
And Honorable, do you think it's still,
I want to bring in also Richard, Honorable, Honorable, Richard Changirai. What you say, HOA, ni pambiri pe nikistareni ni. I'm honorable with that, with that title, because you are honorable. Come on now.
Should I speak now? No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I think I don't want to delve into the political dynamics of what's happening in Parliament in terms of my factions in Triple C. But I'm here to speak about the motion toro na Comrade Geza. You see, I think one thing that we need to understand is the Parliament procedure, right? So I've been moving my motions in Parliament. Right now, I have a motion around my vendors. I also have a motion and a submitter of a diaspora vote. So, my motion now, you craft your motion, right? You craft your motion, you submit it to Parliament staff, right? You go through Parliament staff, Parliament bureaucracy. Then the last person and also sign that motion could also move in Parliament is also a table before the House is in danger. You understand? So you cannot just come up with a motion all of a sudden or we move on Parliament. That's not procedural, right? So in your right mind, do you think Mudenda would actually sign that motion for you to be able to move it in Parliament? I don't think so. I don't think so. Pane previous speaker, Ambo, I told her before, I think Honorable Banda, who spoke about issues around ideology or national question. I think problem yatikuita from my analysis ndekuti Zimbabweans we don't have that common ground. Atina like a major issue or a national question you need to bring about together. Because if I ask one of you, what is it our national question? Someone can say, corruption, someone can say, but those are the system, those are the symptoms of the system. You know, the problem that we have as a country is an authoritarian system. You know, in an authoritarian system, all the democratic institutions, for example, parliament, it ceases to be democratic. So everything that you guys are pointing out, let's move this motion, let's do this. In a democratic parliament, it makes sense. But in an authoritarian system, Yatiri right now, it's not possible. Why? If you want to move a motion, it has to go through parliament bureaucracy at the Munano Pesirandi Denda, of which Mudenda was appointed by Mnangagwa. You know, his loyalty lies with Mnangagwa, not with the people of Zimbabwe. So the root emotion, I don't know how Comrade Geza is going to go about it, but the way I see it, it's impossible. Because the person who has to sign the motion is the Honorable Speaker, right? Of which the Honorable Speaker is a ZANU-PF person, to my understanding, is aligned to Mudenda. So it's not possible. But back to the national question that I was talking about, right? Which is to my understanding, is the authoritarian system that we need to remove. That's why if you go to judiciary, it's captured. If you go to parliament, it's captured. The executive is running everything. In a normal country, those institutions of governance, they are supposed to hold each other to account. But in our case, it's not possible, right? So that's the system that we need to remove. That's the system that we need to fight, right? That's the politics of our country that we need to change. For us to be able to, because if we have an authoritarian system, even to the issue of corruption that you guys are speaking about, it's difficult for us to even to play oversight. You know, because parliament, that space to play oversight on the executive, because it's captured. They control everything. That separation of power does not exist in Zimbabwe. So for parliament to play oversight on the executive, it's not possible. So as a Zimbabweans, we need to unite around that issue. Kuti say Zimbabweans, isusu chinhu chinoita kuti tite come together is to remove that system yekuita kuti pave necorruption, pave nepoor service delivery. That's the system that we need to fight against. So say Zimbabweans, to say that parliament is going to remove E.D. Mnangagwa through a motion in Chara as well, I don't see that coming. I'm sorry, but that's the honest truth.
So, Honorable, if you are saying it's almost impossible and giving those the reasons which are understandable and genuine, knowing what we deal with, do you think there's a reason then for you guys to still be in that parliament? Are you effecting any change? Are you guys serving any purpose, or is just like what Honorable Darlington has said? It's just like just an individual thing.
No, look. As long as in parliament you threaten the political power, then it becomes a problem. You know, we have issues. For example, there's a motion that was raised by Honorable Mshoriwa of death penalty. That's progressive. You know, that's progressive. It's not like we are just going there and just sit and move on. Tongo, we're doing nothing. There are other things that are actually moving. For example, I give a perfect example, the issue of death penalty. You know, that's progressive. The issues around my vendors, the motion that we are moving in parliament, that's progressive. You know?
That's
But
progressive.
now when
Can you say
we
more?
have an issue, sorry. But
how is
now
the
when we
death penalty progressive?
sorry, sorry, can you come again?
Right. I think he I think he said how is the death penalty progressive? I think that was his question.
Nkoma Titus, can I ask the honorable member Mvunzo Mwechete?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Honorable Changirai, good evening to you that side. Honorable Changirai, pakauya motion impeachment. Tinovota here vakomana kuti mudhara aende. Ndocheresa tinongorongozwa chete, are we going to have MPs? We know you may not be able to start the motion itself. But
Look,
munonovota here, obviously it will be by what? By private ballot.
look,
Are we
look,
assured? Are we assured with my MPs and Aripo, we are going to vote and say eating guy? That's what
look,
we want to hear. Thank you.
look, honorable Dr. Banda. I can only speak for myself. If the motion is tabled before Parliament, I'll debate the motion. You understand? I'll debate the motion. Motion yakapresentwa before Parliament. I'll debate the motion. I'm sure a majority of the MPs in the opposition will be willing to debate that motion. You know, it's not good we are happy with the way this country is being governed. You know, we're not happy. We'll debate the motion. You know, but back to what I have said, Honorable Bad. For my analysis, and with the way Parliament is structured, I don't see that motion being tabled in Parliament.
But Honorable Richard, that was not the question. The question was, are you going to vote for the motion or against? There was never a question on debating. The question, we just needed a straightforward answer from you. Are you going to vote in favor of the motion or against the motion? Then you also mentioned about the death penalty. And you said it's very progressive. How is that progressive? Thank you.
Well, of course, I think I've answered that question in terms of what are we going to do when the motion is presented before Parliament. I've made it clear that for me, I'll vote to impeach the president, you know, because in those circumstances, we are not happy with the way our country is being run. You know, the government structure of this country, we are not happy. You know, we are not happy. So if the motion is presented before Parliament, I'll be happy to debate. You know, to say if it's impeachment, I'll be for the impeachment. Of course, why not? You know, it's not we are struggling. You know, we have families that are struggling. We know friends that are struggling. We know neighbors that are struggling. So it does not make sense for us to vote for against the motion. It does not make sense. From a moral point of view, it does not make sense. Almabon, it does not make sense.
Right. Okay. No, thank you, Honorable. Let me just quickly move on to the speakers on. If you can just hang on there, both of you, if you have a bit of time, let's just give time for the guys on the speaker. Okay. Let me quickly move on to Oti.
Thank you, Uncle. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go
All
ahead.
right. So first, ndoda kuti ndimbotanga tidzokere nenyaya yegesa ndisati ndaaska ma-honorable questions. I actually think we need to be celebrating small wins that have been going on since Geza has been in the picture. I've been one of the people who have been supporting this matter. Stop laughing at me, my brother. But anyway, I'm gonna say even the fact that masoja nemapurisa vakapiwa $50 pakabuda mabhasikoro vakavakirwa tudzimba is because they were Mnangagwa felt like he had to do that because Geza anga ne fire. It's might not work, but I'm still hoping. If I don't have hope, then I don't have anything in life. Now, going to Honorable Darlington, thank you for blessing us in this space. My question for you was because, when you started talking, you were talking about, is Geza a ZANU-PF thing or is it, the system? At this point in junction, that question is mute because Atina plan tells it. So when Geza came, tikungoda munhu anotibatsira to move on, because imimi ma-MPs, as you are saying, you guys don't have anything that you can do to help, unless if you guys have another plan. Isiriyageza yekuti vanhu vabude, because he was motivating people to come out. Isusu tinongokuonai muri muparliament, and now that you actually coming up and telling us kuti, hamuna ana president wenyu, ma-3 president who are supposed to be your presidents, vachikulidai ana wende who are supposed to be the vavechikuru, so it's dog eat dog in parliament, and that's actually very, very troubling. We actually told you guys not to go to parliament, but amen, we saw it coming. Takaita giraffe wote sema citizens, knowing what the way the system is right now, mangamchi pikwa one by one na chabangu. So if you were gonna go in parliament, there was nothing that you could have done to change the trajectory of anything. But it's fine, you guys went. Now that you're coming back and telling us, oh, you guys, we cannot do anything in parliament. Now, it's coming to us like, didn't we tell you this? Saka kanatati geza oraiti arkuita zvezano. Imimi, and you saying the same thing. Do you guys have another plan for my citizens as oppositions that we can help you and work with you kutitishande? Because obviously parliament is not working. Zvageza amen utodzona kumangwana kuti chaita here kana ndazviite, but anyway we're holding on that. So that's my question to you guys. And you hope, my brother, preach what you and practice what you preach, because let's not criticize each other, but you are the first person to be criticizing Chamisa. Number one criticism ya Chamisa. Saka ngatite practice what we preach when we talk in this space. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Honorable, if you don't mind, if you can just put the questions down, I'll quickly go to the guys. Both of you, please, if you can just put the questions down, then these guys can quickly ask their brief questions, then you can respond at once. So I think we've got Steve K, you've been there for a minute, African Queen, Smarters, Tatenda, Reynard, and Chada. So maybe if we get three questions for now. Steve K, African Queen, Smarters.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ndanzwa nhasina na honorable panapa hanzi vakaenda muserengeti vakarova shumba yakarara, shumba yabva yamuka bva hatichada zvedu kumhanya, vakutogara zvavo hakuna kurarwa and mukoma dalito akude kudara. Now, you can't do anything in Parliament of Zimbabwe. We saw you, some of you, maybe you too, you did not go kufam. So we understand and we know that even the impeachment start tomorrow, you guys cannot do anything because we have seen things, you see. So in all honesty, nobody trusts anyone who is in Parliament right now. You are all ZANU-PF. So we can't really come here and talk academia and all that kind of stuff and all these philosophical things. But in all honesty, we saw some of you guys, or many of you, maybe you were not there, 2 of you, because maybe you are the smart ones, but we have seen some of you guys in that farm thing, and then you were told by MNANGAGWA how to conduct yourself and how to behave according to Josiah Tongogara Theological College, whatever. You see, so we know these things, we see these things, and we can't hide away from those things. Okay, sorry, yeah, vegetable thing, and the Geza thing, my brothers. It's not over until the fat man sings. I haven't seen Chivaya singing yet, so we have a little bit of hope. You see, in these things, let's see how it plays, and then as soon as Darageza finished his talking, my brother Hopewell came here and go like, "Oh, this is Dololo," and all that kind of stuff. And then a few minutes he went on and then did his journalism, and then he came back and he's giving us hope. So now, So now I'm confused with Zimbabwe people. You
Is that the PE that he was talking about, Steve?
I have no idea. It's just
He just admit in front of everyone that he is the PE moment.
it's like listening to Kanye West. It's bipolar. It's like here saying this and then 2 minutes later it's something good.
Right. Right. Okay. My guy, thank you for that. Right. Can I go to African Queen Dance Matters in that order, please?
Thank you so
Then
much.
the MPs can come in to respond.
Thank you so much, Titus. Thank you so much, Uncle Jeds, and all the speakers. Mine is a comment because they've already been mentioned. Saka ndoda kudzokera ku the two honorables vedu vatinawo ava zvinhu zvataurwa naava honorable Dr. Pastor vaimbovawo muparliament ndofunga mazvinzwa vachikukauntai. Honorable Darlington vati kwanzi zvoni tinoda national question vari kuuya kuzoibvunza pano. Imimi muri muparliament, you're supposed to be thinking that national question asi muri kuuya panapa mabva mataura kuti eZimbabweans we are not united, tofanirwa kubatana. We employ you, we pay you our tax money yamuri kudrive GD6 and stuff like that so that you can sing whether mu street, whether parliament, whether pama radio, whether pa YouTube, kuti let us unite. Muchitangira ikoko muri face to face nana MNANGAGWA vatisingagoni kuita face to face navo. That's what we pay you for. Asi muri kudzoka kuno kumozotiudza kuti hanzi imimi tiri kuda chakati. Muri kutiudzira chisu tinotoziva zvatiri kuda, saka we sent you there so that you can represent us. Asi modzoka futi mozochema kuno. From both of you, what I've come to understand, to sum up what I've heard, ndanzwa kuti nguruve iri kuzvikanga nemafuta ayo. Ma 200,000 esa taurwa and stuff like that. Amugoni kuzviramba. Honorable Darlington mati kwanzi vanhu vanozoti tiri captured and stuff like that. Statement yenyu yoyo yakafanana nestatement inotaurwa nembavha yekuti inoti yabatwa kunonzi naiwe wanzwa wabati gwe obva tanzi vari kunditi hanzi ndakaba. Iwewe uri kuti waitei chaizvo because urimo muparliament ka mauri kuti it's impossible muna mudhenda, it's impossible hatina caucus, it's impossible varimo muleadership havadai, saka you are captured, saka you are being paid. Imimi vanhu imimi you are there for that honorable statement because it's a lifelong HON. Yeah, iri lifelong passive penyu. You are doing it for selfish purposes and diskurwa rungotaura chokwadi. You are doing it kuti CV renyu rugova nechiremerera mberi uko. Imimi dai mamuri serious neupenyu maibuda muparliament muuye kuzorarama upenyu hwenyu sekurarama kunoita vanhu vese muchitsatsarika kwatinotsatsarika. Mungadai mune zvivindi zvokuita izvozvo but hamuna zvivindi zvacho muri kuda kudyana HON uyu amakaisa ipapapa. Maprofessions enyu chaiwo kuti mumaite pursue handiskurwa munogona kutozongosara muri mediocre like anyone else anowana kuti mutemo wemuZimbabwe is anti them, mataxes ari anti them, hapana chinobuda kwamuri kokoko. You are cushioning yourself HON because chinounza mota, chinounza mastands, chinounza 40k amakatotora munoziva kuti makatora nezvimwe zvatisingazivi. Iye zvino muri kuflota pamasaisai any disturbances iripo kuitira kuti mazita enyu agozorangarirwa nekukurumidza pakanzi government of national unity, pakangonzi paitika coup whatsoever. Imimi ndimunenge muri paforefront kutotora zvinzvimbo zvachona izvozvo, but regedzai ndibve ndangotumirawo message yangu kwamuri. Tinoda kuita clean up the system. We want people of integrity. Uye tinoda vanhu vaoverstay muparliament. Iwaya ma one term amakatoita akwana. Musadzokera kunopama. Mazvinzwa musadzokorodza. Atichakudai mese kwete nekuti kwaichi because ipapapa imimi tikakuvunzai munobva mati ndiri wachamisa inini ndiri wanxube amuzivi kamwe kuti muri papi. Saka musadzokera kuparliament imimi vanhu imimi kwete nekuti takakumakai. asi nemhaka yekuti muri kuenabla muriko kuti kuita window dressing yezvinhu zvezano kuitira kuti imimi mugobva manzi tapasisa mutemo wakati. Mune mutemo yamuri kuti iri progressive nemwe yakadaro mamotions ari kuunzwa nezano amuri kuita window dressing muchistemba imimi in the name of opposition. Pakauya international community imimi ndimi munenge makagara kufront muchinzi we've got opposition kureva imi muchiti makamirira isusu musina kutimiririra makamirira matumbu enyanzvadzi dzangu hatisi kutukai matine marelatives anotambura matine marelatives anotambura
I think takurasika.
mati mune marelatives anotambura asi imimi hamutamburi imimi vanimi munawo maningi munawo macushions amuri kutora out of the taxpayers money saka zvakwana imimi makachuza kugara imomo makatengesa bhesi makatengesa musangano wedu saka integrity hamuna zvachose ende matobuda pachena nhasi kuti you are there to do the impossible nekufadza kuita stroke ego rava MNANGAGWA and so on and so forth. Mari dzamakapiwa hamuna kuchuza kusacrifice ma40,000 dai makatenga mapanado mukadoneta dai makatenga something else nema40 asi makadla nemiromo yenyu iyoyo mukaputira pasi sehuku muzviregedza nzvadzi dzangu mune ropa mukati memaoko enyu in the name of opposition. Muri vatengesi muri vaurai because ropa rese revanhu vari kufa muzvipatara vasina mamedication makagara ipapo makati go pazvigaro izvozvo muchingoti tiri triple C
right okay
hanzvadzi dzangu
right okay hanofunga vazvinzwa my sister
uncle
honorable aiwa ndiri kukumbirawo isai HON aiwa isaiwo cheni isaiwo HON hamuzongondizvo ndenge ndakandizvo naJD isai HON ndaisawo HON.
Uncle, you see, it's very unfortunate that politics is shaped by perceptions rather than reality or the truth, right? I'm sure if my sister, my previous speaker, my sister, very aware of the truth, what is actually happening, I'm sure zvimwe zvinhu zvavataura vai withdraw, I don't think, my sister, you know the life that I'm living or kana upenyu hwaundorarama. For it's very unfortunate for you to come here mova mandituka the way amandituka, but anyway, I think those don't worry. But guys, I think we need to have an honest discussion here. But it doesn't matter if we go out of parliament. But anyway, what I'm trying to say here is, let's say Geza, right? I think the major issue why we are not on the same page is what happens after we remove Geza. The aftermath actually matters. Everything, Kanamchi demonstrator, we have been demonstrating for a long time. Kanamchi demonstrator, everything has to be on the paper, right? What is it that you want to achieve, right? Is it we want to remove MNANGAGWA and replace him with Chiwenga? Is that what we are advocating for, right? MNANGAGWA, what is it that we want to do after? Are we going to have a transition authority? Are we going to, all those things have to be put on paper so that people agree. I'm afraid if we don't agree, if we don't come together in terms of that, I don't think we are going anywhere, honestly. We have to put everything on paper. What is it that we are fighting for? If we are fighting for to remove MNANGAGWA, then what happens? Because the last thing that we want is to have another Libya, So we need to know what is it that we are fighting for. Everything has to be on paper. If we want to remove MNANGAGWA as Zimbabweans, yes, which I agree, but the problem that we have is not MNANGAGWA, it's a system. We put Chiwenga and will probably be a detector more than MNANGAGWA, right? So we need to be very clear as Zimbabwe, because this is the critical juncture. We have to be very clear. What is it that we want as a country? Because like what I said, we need to agree. What is our national question? You know, is it our national question? What's our national question? Probably they'll say our healthcare, more probably say our corruption. But those are the system. Our national question is the authoritarian system that we have. Inoita kuti inini newe takada kudemonstrata tinosungwa, inini newe takada kuita something tinoiswa mujeri, inini newe takada kudemonstrata we spent 2 years mujail tisina bail. As long as we have that system, everything zvatikutrai kuda kuita hazvibudiriri. So that's our national question in Zimbabwe. Ndo zvatofanira kubatana kuti kana tabvisa taagreeya kuti let's remove Mnangagwa. What is it that we're going to do after? How are we going to come up with a system inoita kuti iri inclusive, inoita kuti kana inini newe tada kuparticipate in the democratic spaces hatisungwe. How can we have a system inoita kuti democratic institutions yedu anoita kuti tite democratic outcome kana democratic election ari transparent, hasi captured? Those are the things that we need to put on paper navageza before tisata demonstrate. Vageza, we agree. Whatever that you are saying, we agree with you. But what is it that we want to do after Mnangagwa? So if we come up with that, I'm sure if we all agree on that, kutitaka visa, because some people are skeptical for what happened in 2017. Because they know taka remove Mugabe, takaisa Mnangagwa, we end up with even worse situation that what we were fighting for. So people vakuda kuziva kuti if what is it that we want to achieve after Mnangagwa. So I think those are my submission. Thank you.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay, Honorable Darlington, you want to say something quick here?
Yeah, let me be quick. Thank you so much to everyone. Apart from what Zaki, Regandi, Tangi, na sister wangu wapesera kutaura. I do really appreciate the passion. It is being driven by the situation that's out there. But like I've said, Bandambo Tanga Kutaura, no matter the situation, no matter the circumstances, we must always remain truthful to ourselves. Let me just correct one or two things. There's no a single MP in the 10th Parliament I receive a 40,000. Hakuna MP I receive a Mario. Maria Kawanda yandakatambira ku Parliament. Yaive bonus, I think it was $600 US dollars. My monthly salary ku Parliament is $270 USD. Then
Motor.
RTS component inosvika around maybe $400 or $300. If you check in Budro South, since the time I got into Parliament, I've not been given CDF. And vira 2023 and Nagana CDF and appeal. But I want you to check the thing that you have tried to do in my constituents. I also appreciate Honorable Changira. He has also been doing things in his constituents. I want you to ask yourselves questions. Where is that money coming from? This is money that is coming from our own pockets. I understand our job is a thankless job. No one would thank us. But we didn't get into Parliament to prevent 2030. 2030 is one of the many issues that we got into Parliament for. There are many other issues maybe that might come, maybe Akasiana 2030. So for us to reduce the existence of a member of Parliament in Parliament, for the existence of a member of Parliament in Parliament to be all about 2030, I think there are many issues that we address as members of Parliament. The other thing that I also want to mention is sometimes it's not, but the existence, Kungove Pokwa MP, where opposition is a deterrent, is a repellent on itself. I think if there's somebody who followed the issues that were raised by Honorable Koban on Mutapa, it was an interesting observation that he made, because he's there in Parliament. You may not see the effects of what he did, but he did something for the nation. I think if also followed what Honorable Gumbo, he raised a very fundamental issue in Parliament pertaining the appointment of, I think it was the appointment of Director General Office of President, my CIO, in Parliament. So I think let us refrain from reducing our existing Parliament to. This is my comment on that. And then on some issues that were raised, I would really want to take responsibility as a member of Parliament. But I want to appeal to you, to everyone who is listening. I did not come per space panel in order for me to to be considered or to improve my visibility. It is because of my genuine desire to also be part and parcel of the national discussion that is ongoing. It is a genuine desire, and also to give an input as a person who is at a place because the people chose me to represent them. The people did not choose me to represent them so that I go there and represent or present my ideas. I went there so that I'll represent and present your interest. And this is an example of a platform where I get to understand the things or the way you'd want me to represent you in Parliament. So as joining these spaces, my fellow citizens, is also as a way of soliciting ideas to say, what do people really want us to do when you are in Parliament? I can't go to Parliament and represent myself. I have to represent you. I have to understand what you want to be done. That's why even my constituents, we try our best to do my feedback meetings so that we solicit views from the citizens. And those who are in my WhatsApp group, say community, they know I always post. Parliament so that when I get to Parliament, especially given the way opposition is fractured in terms of having that political narrative and agenda in Parliament, I think now I rely more on the views of my citizens. Ndichinopedza mukoma jedza chandinogara ndichiudza vanhu constituents kwangu ndechekuti the mistake that we are always making as the citizens, we are always waiting for the next election to punish certain people. I think as a nation we need to refrain from that. I would really appreciate a situation whereby you hold us to account. Instead of saying Chigumbu in 2028 I might not be there in 2028 because that offer. 2028 I might not come back because sure mani varrapanzi. 2028 I might not come back because in as individual and discutoda. But in 2028, kana 2023 ongoing 35 years, unongo 24 years, time yatofamba. So let us not have this attitude as a nation. Yekuita senge tiri kumirira kuzonopunisha the leaders in the election. Why can't we work together to achieve what needs to be achieved now? When 2028 comes, it's fine. Parliament, because there are things that I really want to achieve for the people that I'm leading. I'm trying my best in Mudro South. I have.
Honorable,
Level,
do you have any reservations or regret on on you being in Parliament now, or is something that you just you convinced that you should be there and you're making a change? I mean, obviously this in regard to what the people, most of the people, citizens that voted for you say. Do you have any reservations, any regrets, or you convinced with your position?
Okay, when it comes to my position, I think I'm one person who was 3 minutes away from resigning. I'm not going to divulge many details. I was very close to resigning. I consulted the people who voted for me. They didn't want me to resign. One thing that I can tell you for
when you consult your constituents, did you make a rally, or how do you consult your constituents?
Okay, I'll get to that. My point is, I spoke to many people in my constituents. I spoke to some pastors because in my constituents I've got many stakeholders. So I solicited views from pastors. But let me tell you one thing that I regret. I don't regret being in Parliament now because I understand what I've done, my contributions that I've done, that I've made in Parliament currently. I know you'd want to measure me based on the 2030 issue, but I wouldn't want you to measure me, my contribution based on that particular or isolated incident. But one thing that I regret, decision that I made to join this thing. You know, if I'm to have it my way, I would advise all the young people to never desire to go to Parliament. You know, the way the citizens will destroy your integrity as a young person, I don't think it's a good thing. You don't need to be in Parliament as a young person. Yes, you know, we want young people to take these spaces, but we have not had any instance where the citizens will support the young people who are in Parliament. You know, now every other person anotanga kufunga kuti nditori mbavha. I'm a person of integrity myself. You know, try nepandino.
You're breaking up, Honorable.
We you go to Parliament, your integrity is destroyed because of what people. You go back to the constituents. People want things. You don't have money. As a young person, I was trying to amass wealth. If I show you the messages that I have in my phone, Honorable deadline yakusvikandira mari mwana wangu fees, Honorable baba wangu warwara, Honorable chakati. You know, sometimes you'll be scared kungonofamba kuti upinde constituents. So we have not had the support system to support, number one, young MPs. Number two, even to mentor them. Is there a single person? We are first time MPs, still young. Is there a single we are taking to say, guys, we need to mentor you? No one has done that. What do you do? Every day, thrashing us, bashing us. No one has even appreciated the smallest of the efforts that we do. But I do really appreciate those who appreciate us. But I just want you to see my regret. My regret is, why did I make the decision to get into Parliament in the first place? People see you driving that car. You see, that was not my first car, but people see you driving that car. You get that car. Everything that happens with that car, it's your baby to carry. So you are getting a $48,000 car, yet your salary is $270.
Why did you refuse the car if you have not driven? I mean,
let him land. Then
let me finish. My point is, we are not the first MPs to get cars. Number two, imagine an MP who needs to cover spaces, areas ake munzvimbo. Maybe muHarare munofanira zvinabasa, but MPs ekumusha. The vastness physical space yanenge ainayo, and anoita basa racho sei. It's necessary for them to have cars. But my point is, it is actually a burden. Because now people see you driving that car, they think that you are mari manje. Hapana kana mari. Now mese muri kuti takapiwa 40,000. Hapana kana 40,000 yakauya mukoma wangu. Tiri kunzi takapiwa mastands. Hakuna mastands anopiwa kuParliament. The arrangement that is there ndekuti kana wato the council must arrangement.
Sorry, my breaker, Marty. The council should what?
Ndikuti the arrangement hakuna munhu anopiwa stand kumkoma. The arrangement kana council yako yatowana stand yacho, the best they can do is to give you flexible full stop.
Right.
Else, but one else anofanira kuti tinopiwa mastands, vanopiwa chakati. It's not true. Urikuona pane pfungwa yacho. Like I've said,
Okay.
Sakani, now honorable, your president resigned, and yourself, do you respect your president, Chamisa? Was when he resigned with everything that was going on, why didn't you guys fulfill your hands?
Revolution.
No, guys. Yes, Wendas, we are waiting to speak. Please, if you could respect yourself and us as well. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Panya resignation. I don't want to say much. Only say is
On a point of order, honorable, that's not what we are talking about. Please. So we came up here, there is a topic. So if you could maybe go more, yes, please, if you could address the topic. When does
okay, thanks. So let me ignore this other question and then get to issue yes, dango patresa the points that have been raised by Honorable Changirai. To say I understand the anger and the desire for something to happen, but the end game is always important. The end game. My feeling, if you ask me about this matter, I am willing to fight the 2030 issue in Parliament, even if you motion follow my debates pertaining that matter. I'm willing to fight the issue at 2030 because I don't believe in it. I don't believe it's necessary for us to do that. But what I'd also want people to respect my views on look, I don't feel I have to fight 2030 agenda in a space that has been created by ZANU-PF. That's my reservation.
Right.
I don't want this to be an issue a party young, but I feel we need to have our own platform where we genuinely fight the issue at 2030. Tisinga dilute issue at 2030 nema power dynamics are in ZANU-PF. I don't want to be part and parcel where you fight my ZANU-PF functional wars. I don't want to be that, to be in that space. But if you say we've got a genuine platform where we want to fight issue at 2030, I'm one person who is going to do my best to contribute. So the problem people want to drag us to say simply because a honorable Geza, comrade Geza, to me the way I'm seeing this, and my factional wars are ZANU-PF, and I don't think it's wise for us or for me to join that, to join the 2030 fight on that platform. But maybe what I think is wise is for us as citizens to exploit the opportunity and aid our voice to whatever is happening. But in my own analysis and my own thinking, I might be wrong. I will one day maybe correct, but I don't think we'll remove ZANU-PF using ZANU-PF. It's impossible. That's my thinking.
All right. Thank you, Honorable. Right. Who was coming next? Right. Smarters on Gota, you were coming after African Queen.
Yes, man. Yes, Titus. I had questions that I wanted to pose to the two honorables, but I think they have preempted my questions. What they were giving me, I don't know who is. I think there's someone Majestic. Your microphone is on.
Right, just mute Majestic.
Yeah.
I'll give you time to speak.
Yeah, but for me, my position is ED. Yes, ED has some serious issues, but it's not just our problem. And I think Honorable Changirai touched on that point to say our problem is ZANU-PF. We need to fight the system. We need to fight the ZANU-PF system. And Geza, whilst he is coming through to fight ZANU-PF, we will watch from the terraces, just like what we've been doing, right? But for us, they need to try to, to actively participate in a program that we do not know the end game. Say at the end of the day. Sorry, Titus. All right, yeah. In a game where we don't even know what's in it for us, what's in it for the people of Zimbabwe. right? You cannot be an honorable supporting Chiwenga, an honorable from the opposition supporting Chiwenga. So I totally agree and concur. Then Honorable Darlington, I had serious reservations with the comment that you made when Opel was still here, right? You know that Opel has been on record bashing your leader, right? So for you to say, Mukoma Opel will look up to you to conscientize the masses on how parliament works, or the understanding of our politics because he's just a journalist, I don't think that's fair. We are not, journalists are not there to teach us anything, especially if it's someone like Hopewell who is always changing his positions, right? It's good that now he has taken an about 10, because I had prepared some clips of what he was saying just a few days ago in a space, right, where he was talking, supporting Geza, to say, what, Mnangagwa, we are not going to give him a week. To some people, you are just seeing these protests as if they are just a one-day event, but that's not what is going to happen. This is not a one-day event, right? For him to then come back and say it was a damn squib, what were we expecting from Geza? I think the point is Geza is ZANU-PF. Whilst we do understand our brothers like Wanamwendas who are supporting Geza to say, hey, whatever they are doing, it will weaken ZANU-PF. We understand that, right? It's okay for you to think like that. But I've seen organizations that bounce back after, let's say, you have a turnaround strategist, right? There were people who were thinking that opposition was going to be weak post 2018, if I may say, right? But President Nelson Chamisa managed to rejuvenate the masses, and this is supported by numbers. The 2 million people that voted for him, and also if you more going to 2023, the fact that as opposition with more than 100 MPs in parliament and also close to 2 million people, right? This speaks to the rejuvenation that comes with someone who can connect with the masses. You cannot argue and say that cannot happen to ZANU-PF. So you should also look at it from that viewpoint, because as you know, fellow comrades, ZANU-PF was more popular than ED, right? If you look at the people that voted for the MPs in the general elections, both for 2018 and 2023, right, versus the people that voted from MNANGAGWA. MNANGAGWA was struggling to get to the 50% plus one vote, even after rigging, even after duplicating 16 votes, 16 what are they called, the V11s from 16 polling stations, remember, in 2018. He still struggled. So which means he's not popular. So for us to put all our effort trying to remove MNANGAGWA, who is not very popular, right? Ignoring ZANU-PF, the system that we feel before MNANGAGWA, we still have problems with the corruption. Before MNANGAGWA, we still have the same problems that we are facing today, right? You can remove MNANGAGWA there, put Mugabe, we'll still struggle. Our economy will never work. So, right, that's our argument. Those people who are not supporting the Geza, right? That's our argument to say, no, ED cannot just be our problem. Because remove him, put anyone there, including my learned comrades who are, honorables who are on this platform. If you put them, as long as they have ZANU-PF as a conduit, we know what's going to happen. There's nothing good that will come out of the Jongwe. There's nothing good that will come out of ZANU-PF. So the last point that I just want to make, Titus, is as citizens, as people who are progressive, right? Whilst Geza has started something that we feel, it aids resistance. It's something that had died in our politics, where people, can resisting through protests, even staying away. I think we can capitalize on this one and say, what is it that we can do as progressives? Can we organize ourselves? Takazviona isusu kuti ZANU-PF inotyama protests, for instance. Can we not organize protests isusu as opposition? not to wait for a ZANU-PF Central Committee member to try to come. Okay, sorry, Titus, fine.
Finish your points, matters. Finish your point.
No, that's fine. I think I had made my point, Titus. It's just that
okay,
that is coming from the two mics, but that's fine. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that. Okay. Can I move on to Majestic Lloyd?
Yes. Good evening. I want to make my contributions. And if we know the history of ZANU-PF, it destroys itself, starting from its formation to date. So we are all condemning Geza, but if we understand the true history of Zimbabwe, it wasn't won through the barrel. Yes, the barrel was there, and there was an agreement, which is the Lancaster House, which was done on the 21st of December, 1979. So Geza's strategy, we all know that if you are fighting, you have to be in hiding. Even all these people we call war vets, they were in Mozambique. No one was in Zimbabwe. Most of them were in Mozambique. The moment they crossed the borders into Zimbabwe, they were arrested. So for people to come on the platform and start blaming a person who has his own strategy, he made it very clear. He did not say he wants a ZANU-PF person. He is also very clever. He might use the soldiers to gain what he wants to gain, and in the end, you just go to say, we need an interim government whilst we are waiting for elections. And he should not preempt his tactics and his strategies. This is where people go wrong. And they also go on to blame Chamisa for what he did. They know that if Chamisa goes on the street, he'll be arrested. And what would we have done if he comes on the street, gets arrested, sentenced to 5 years in prison? What are we fighting for? So we need a strategy. So this gentleman has his own strategy, which we all need to respect and all need to follow. For the past 45 years, we have never done nothing. We're just good at talking, but no action. This guy was bold enough to come out and say whatever he had to say, and he made it very clear. He apologized first. He's not being used by someone. People might think they are using him, but if you listen to what he says, he's very clever. He might seem to be aligned to a person because he wants protection, which is fine. But what happens after the winning is what matters for everyone. We all come here and blame and do the blame game. But none of us here went on the street to prove anything or to do anything, because he called us to go on the street. And the majority of us here, if we are to count, probably none of us even went on the streets. And now we come back and say, no, he was a failure. He listened to his strategies, give him the time, give him the opportunity. Even for ZANU-PF to win probably in 1980 through a ballot, Zimbabwe was won through a ballot, not through the barrel. Let's not lie to each other. Let's not listen to this doctored history we were taught in schools to suit those who are in power right now. This is why we were so brainwashed to think, oh, it was won by the barrel. The barrel failed. And we went to the negotiating table. So this is the barrel Geza is using. He is forcing the regime to come to the table or to force them to come out. The same way the things happened in 2017. We were all foolish enough. If you go back to my page on Facebook on the 17th of November, I told you to say, the best thing, after the soldiers did whatever they did, because they were all scared because it was a coup, then people were supposed to declare what they wanted that time. We're supposed to have an interim government that time and make a roadmap on how we want elections conducted. During that transition government, we took neutral people who will come and lead us for the 3 months till we choose a new government. So probably that's what together. If you listen to him, listen to his first speeches, he made it very clear. But he cannot come in the open because he doesn't know who to trust. So for all of us here to come and say, no, it is a failure. Just like Hopo is a flip-flopper. It all depends on where he is. Yeah? In Bemba, we say, ni muselera kwa kaba. Where it's warm, that's where he rushes. It's like a heat-seeking missile. Where there is heat, that's where he rushes to. You understand? He doesn't know. He rushes to blame, but he doesn't want to be blamed. And everyone wants to blame, oh, where is Chamisa? He has been quiet. We know that when you go and challenge this regime head on, you'll be arrested or you'll be imprisoned. Like what they did to Job Sikala. It's the same thing. So he's not stupid. You want him to go in the forefront, but he understands how this regime works. They want him, they will provoke you to do something and then they will arrest you. If you remember, they were once beaten with Changirai. And history has to teach us we should not be blinded by breadcrumbs today. But Geza is bold enough. Yes, he's ZANU-PF. Yes, they chased him. Yes, he still stands his ground. He is not moved. Let's support him, regardless whether he's from ZANU-PF, he's from opposition. Like right now, there's no opposition. If I ask these two honorable guys who are here, Twangrai and the other honorable, and I'm very disappointed for an MP who is discouraging youth to be MPs. I disrespect you for telling youth not to join. If you do not understand how parliament works, do not discourage those who want to go into parliament. Your role as a parliamentarian is not to give handouts to people. You are supposed to mobilize people. You are supposed to do fundraising committees to help those people in your constituency, not your money from your pocket. For you to be an MP, you don't need to do that. So understand your role as an MP. First of all, you have shown ignorance that you do not understand the role of an MP. It's not to take your money from your home. You are supposed to be logical. You are supposed to arrange things so that at least you help your constituents. Sometimes you don't need money. You only need wisdom. Money is nothing, but you need wisdom to lead your people. The same way they voted you, ask them, go back, how do we help our community? You have got the think tanks in your community. They will tell you, okay, let's do A, B, C, D. Not, oh, when I go, they say, I want to pay school fees. Yes, they come to you. So how best can you go back to your team and say, okay, these people are saying they want A, B, C, D. How best can we help them? Do fundraising committees. So not what you are telling me, but most of all, I respect guests. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your points. Thank you, Danton. You don't have to respond now. I'm sure you can always do that afterwards. Right? Can I quickly go to Tatenda?
Thank you, Uncle Gerald and Uncle Titus. Our struggle is a continuous struggle. Struggles are not one in a day. If we can understand, for Zimbabwe to be liberated, there were two Chimurengas, and there were people who died in both first and second Chimurenga. There were people who were arrested in the first and the second Chimurenga. Every struggle has got people that has to be sacrificed, sacrificial lambs, whether willingly or unwillingly. Geza set a tone that the youth, sadly some of us were outside, but we need to also participate when we're outside. But Zimbabweans, we are too arrogant. This thing of option B, because we're in the diaspora, we focus on shifts, we focus on our work and say everything is okay. If I'm here with my family, what is happening back home is not affecting me. Consequently, it's affecting you consequently because you with the 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 pounds that you can earn or dollars, you have to support 20 people. We need to be active, people who are in the diaspora. Make noise at the embassies. Gather. Have structures in the diaspora. While people back home, we need you to start organizing yourselves. Because the one-man show can never achieve to uproot a system that has survived for more than 45 years plus other years when it was established before Zimbabwe was liberated. I can give an example of Botswana, which I used yesterday because I was on the space again. For people of Botswana to decide that 60 years of being ruled by the same government that was first led by the Ian Khama the first, it was time enough to say no, we need change. It was the consciousness of the young people and the politicians to say within our divides, we cannot remove Masasi without us uniting. In Zimbabwe, we need to now look at our demographics. Our demographics should guide us to come up with numbers to say, to fight ZANU-PF. But we have tried the ballot. We have tried this. We need to use both the ballot and the streets. You know, for instance, Matabeleland was a bit relaxed in this situation because Matabeleland, they feel like when it comes to national issues, they are not well considered. Everything is in Harare, everything is Harare, everything is Mashonaland. We need to rethink who are the influential people that are honest in Matabeleland and the numbers that they bring. Who are the honest people that we think that they can lead us to fight, whether people will die, whether people will be arrested, because every struggle is to have people who will die somewhere, somehow. Even the struggle of democratic countries that are recognized, like South Africa, which is one of the most recognized globally, people died. Where people are not willing to come up with a clear picture of what is happening. And sadly, I can honestly speak to say, in Parliament, we have got parliamentarians, some who are honest, and the majority are there for their stomachs. And those that are honest, they are a small chunk to influence what is happening. And with one of the former honorables saying that there is 120 to 250 being dangled like carrots. When a rabbit see a carrot, it loses its mind because it's appetizing. A big carrot in front of it, it's appetizing. Sadly, people who are in parliament, whether we can say they should, those that remained, they sold out, whether they should have left, some of the bills that they can celebrate to say that they've pushed towards. Yes, on a humanitarian level, I'm a lawyer by profession. Yes, to say the death penalty has been removed is a success, but death penalty is not what is more than 15 million Zimbabweans are crying for. 15 million Zimbabweans are crying for service delivery, an economy that allows them to thrive, an economy that allows graduates from university. You know that I'm going to go somewhere there. In your third year or fourth year at uni, you are already knowing that a certain company is interested in me. I can go and do my attachment somewhere, and by then, the time I finish, I don't need to pay someone. I don't need someone to influence my adoption by a company into employment. But with the current system, unless both domestic and international, like what they did during the time they fought to remove Smith, whereby we had people in exile who were active and people who were home who were active, who continue to give poems, rhetorics, stories. We need to look at our situation and look at how dear it is. Because people here in the diaspora, they overwork themselves. By the time after 10 years of working here, your body is no longer the same because you need to feed 20, 30 people back home because ZANU-PF have created a system that make it hard for you whether you're home or you're abroad. We need to look at those things, say, whether we are abroad and I have got my 2, 3 kids with me, but I have got my grandmother who is back home, who I need to feed. I have my mother who I left back home because she cannot come to the diaspora. How do we then go about it? We need structures. Wars that don't have structures, they are difficult to maneuver and to lead to victory. So our leaders, your brothers and sisters, you know each other's weaknesses. Money should not be the root cause of how you betray people. Because it's money that is at play that determines how our leaders are now deciding how our futures are. Put aside the desire and the greed for money and allow an economy whereby people should not write poems for to buy them cars. In South Africa, in other countries like Botswana, globally, artists, footballers, they are able to live an affluent life from their sweat. But
Can you prepare to land, Tatene?
I'm coming to land. But back home, people have to lick people's bottoms for them to be able to succeed because the system has been created in that way. We need a Zimbabwe that people are driven. People are leading and determining in all institutions. And the one thing that the opposition will fail to do is to infiltrate ZANU-PF the same way it infiltrates us. I end there.
Right, thank you. Uncle, I think who hasn't spoken? I think we've got Tadini, Vamakoko, Tino, Reinhard, and yeah, they haven't spoken.
Right, guys. It's now 12:30, 12:30. So we'll go until 1 a.m. and then we'll bring the show to a close. Early morning is the stuff to do. So you said who hasn't spoken?
So Vamakoko, Tadini, Tino, and Reinhard haven't spoken.
Right, okay. So Reinhard, please, can you take the mic?
Oh, thank you, Maita Ngoma Gerard. Thanks, Titus. Mahonorable makati zvenyu. Mirani moti bate chop kumahonorable. Mahonorable ndofunga makaita out of touch nereality. Makakoshewa kuita governance. Chinhu chamaifanwa kuita kugara muchiuya kuvanhu. Kana izvisiwo tokutendai zvenyu kuti mauya panapa. Basi chokwadi ndechekuti sezvatakuwana Richard kuti diaspora zvimwe zvinhu makutozviverenga kubva pamatwitter spaces nepachiichiichi. Asi chokwadi ndechekuti munofanirwa kugara muchiuya, dai maigara muchiuya tichiziva kuti idzo mari dzamuri kuora zvichikuitika kana development yamunogona kuasista nayo mungadai musingaiti zvamuri kuita sezvatakuwana mukoma majestic kuti no listen shamwari unofanirwa kunge wakavhura pfungwa dzako. Waona ZANU-PF haimbopeka kudzisa chinhu kana uri munhu weopposition, ndochokwadi chiripo ichocho. Ndo zvinhu zvamaifanirwa kunge dai makaziva, mungadai makauya kana kudiaspora mukandingana naHope kana nani toona zvinoitiwa. Right, hataurei nyaya chaiyo iripo, nyaya yavageza. Nyaya yavageza ngatisasorei zvinhu zviripo because chinhu chatiri kutsvaga panapa kadai chinzanga riri business, ibusiness refreedom. Toda freedom, yes, that is the biggest picture. Ende tuma side pictures tuchabuda, tumwe tuchadhuka, tumwe toparara, tumwe tuchadzokera the mainstream. Toramba takafocusa pa the big picture kuti no, we are supposed to get there. The journey from Egypt to Israel was supposed to be 40 days, but it took 40 years. Zvinoitika izvozvo. Saka tikasatarisa that big picture yatiri kuda, hapana zvatinenge taita maona. Chinhu chatofanirwa kuziva ndechekuti hatina nguva because iko zvino ZANU-PF is at its weakest. And this opportunity created on Mdaragezak, mukasaishandisa from the way that I know ZANU-PF naMNANGAGWA from 1980. And ndakudza ichokwadi, hatimbofi takamubvisa futi. The moment this happens. Saka procrastinating and promoting boredom ngazvitibetseri nechinhu kuti Geza atadza, Geza ita sei. Iko zvino Geza akauya kuno kudiaspora akati right, imi muri kudiaspora please, ngatindobei international community. hapana kana chiripo panapa iko zvino asi kuzoti kuseka tese panapa no, we knew that he was going to fail, we knew that. This is like Mission Impossible. The fuse has been lit. Chatwa champupuri kana musingazive kuti now everything is going right, saka we got to go left and strategize. Hapana kwamuri kuenda, muchagara muchingoya pana pangomajidza muchingotaura instead of talking progress ka ndiri kuudzai tikangotadza kubvisa munhu iko zvino this time ka hapachisina, because isusu vamwe takakurira kuMidlands tinoziva Munangagwa mamira akaita. Munangagwa ndiye anga akabata ZANU-PF, ndosekera muchiona akazoita unhubu pana Mugabe, because ndiye aitumwa naMugabe zvinhu zvacho nazvese. Saka vanhu vanotomuziva, isaimuziva achitanga kutoluta kubva uko. Even pazvakareva 2017 like what Ngoma Majestic said, takati matokanganisa, maita wrong, dai masiya Mugabe aripo, kana dai opposition ingadai akanosapota Mugabe, it was far much better. Chamisa had a chance of actually taking that seat, but unfortunately hazvina kuitika saizvozvo. Saka tikatarisa manje hatitarisei kuti right business redu refreedom rakamira sei. Tinoona kuti mukati tikanyatsoisa kuti hatina malessons learned atamboita izvizvi pane zvinhu zvaikona Geza, kuti okay, very fine, Geza is lit diffuse, ZANU-PF is split. Saka what opportunities have they created? What threats are they? What weaknesses do we have? We don't even have an organization. Threats, okay, infiltrations and stuff. What are our strengths? Our strengths are the institutions which are outside in the countries that we live. ANC chaiyo kwainoimbwa kumanhingiriro uko kuchitwa manhingiri ma-human rights kunana London uko. Nyika dzese dziko all over dzinozviita izvo zvizvo, because chinhu chiri muZimbabwe ndechekuti kuti muitike uprising yakanyatsokwana hazviitike nemhaka yekuti mune control. If you don't understand that term of control in your life, ndikukuudzawo tinogara tichisekana panapa. But ZANU-PF knows that outside there is no control outside there. We don't know what can be coming for us. I'll give you a very case in point. Tora mufana weMondlane paakaenda kunze, paakadzoka achizolenda futi paMozambique, vananhingi vakagara mukati muoffice iye achikisa ground paairport, because they couldn't control him when he was outside, but they knew that if he was inside Mozambique, Mondlane angadai ari mujeri, hatidi kunyepera. But he changed the strategy, he took it outside, and then he started advocating from outside. So like what Nkoma Majestic said, South Africa, Zimbabwe, there were timelines which were already designed, which were already there. If it means that we are going to negotiate for this country, let's go and negotiate for this country. Power is not begged. You take power. And the Igos notanga kutanga kuzati munofanirwa kudrafta tine lessons learned. Asi chinhu chandanyatsoobserva mu diaspora ndechekudai so ichi. Vanhu vari mudiaspora havana rallying point yekuti vanogona kukokisa vanhu kuti vanhu vavasupport, because mese muri ngotaura kuti pakadai. But there are so many rallying points which are happening. This situation yaGeza ikai ikanzi yaenda haywire is going to cause an influx ema-refugees. Zviri kutoitika izvizvi so. But nobody is taking care of the people. Who is supposed to take care of the people if you're only busy taking care of yourselves? What is politics? It's a servitude.
Right.
But we need empathy to Tambura. Amuna that empathy. Could know we need to organize my constituencies that we can go in the radio Wagomana. Variku London and the Arab Emirates. Variku America and the Tuna Chikuita outside. Variku and but go to the Ragabi Batika Seki or Panabashiga Farwa, Maria Gayen. Madame Zagabi was Gavaro and Maria Gayen. Munangagwa is the richest person, Maria Guenda. Zigananda.
Okay, thank you very much, Mukoma. Let's go on. Since we're there, Ngati Jigane. Wamakokova, can you come in, please?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I've been listening for a while, and for a number of days, I've just been listening and seeing the developments. And to be honest, the call by Vageza today initially deflated my spirits, because it seems it's deflating the momentum that was there. My expectation was he was going to say either Viva continue with the demonstrations to pick up momentum, but he changed the strategy. I'm not sure, and I'm not legally sound enough to judge whether it's a good channel. But my thing is, it's good to run parallel channels. The parliament's impeachment route must be followed. But to empower that impeachment thing, there must be boots on the ground. And I see there is a problem of unity of purpose of the demo amongst us. Right now, that Dr. Elder Geza is no longer calling for demos. There is a space for Youth Matters and me and Dr. Takadini with your organization to occupy that space and take over the momentum and mobilize people to go on this, to complement the impeachment process by Elder Geza. We must go on the streets to complement his efforts, not to wait for him. Because when we say, let's work with him, we come with the questions, what then after? But when we are now doing, when we as citizens are calling our own demonstrations, coming together, calling for our own demonstrations, starting next week, starting as soon as possible, we will be able to have a say on the table. We will be able to gain success. Even the impeachment will be empowered. The people that are going to the MPs in parliament, when the people are on the ground, they will have power and their voice will have power. They will be saying they are representing the people. It may not be the people, the impeachment may not happen. We may garner support from the ground and be able to cause something to happen, someone to step down, someone to say, let's talk. So I'm saying, let's ride on the wave. Those who are willing, then we are able to have a say on the table without us participating and just criticizing this one and that one and criticizing each other and bringing some people, some players that are on the bench to say come back when they're injured. Why are you not coming back? It doesn't make sense. Let us take the space. Let's take responsibility. Let's take this thing into our hands. When does the space is open? That's my challenge to us all. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. We do appreciate. Right, Dr. Nadini, can you come in?
Yes, thank you, Mkoma Gerard. I was going to start by talking some issues that were touched by Mkoma Opo, but I think my brothers, Smarters and Onions, have already done justice to that. Let's stop the hypocrisy. But then going to the subject and addressing the honorables that are here, it's very disheartening to hear you leaders, MPs, openly admit that you are powerless in parliament. There is nothing that you can move that is against ZANU-PF that will be permitted to go ahead. Manyaso tsanangura step by step kuti apana chinhu chamunokwanisa kumuvha as a motion chinenge chiri against ZANU-PF chichizobvumirwa kuti chiitike, because the person who has to approve that motion is one, the parliamentary staff, which obviously have a loyalty according to what you are saying, then two, the speaker, who has a definite loyalty. You are admitting that kuti hapana zvamunokwanisa kuita zvine zviri seriously against ZANU-PF because hazvimbofa zvakaaprovwa naspeaker nevamwe vese vari pakati apa. Meaning kuti you know that you have no power. But what is disheartening is in the same breath, you then turn around and say, but we are going to stay there because we can cause some change. You have to balance that, gentlemen. Can you not see because it becomes an oxymoron? It means that what you are calling change is only the minor things that are useless in the grand scheme of things that will be permitted by the speaker who is representing ZANU-PF there, such as the death penalty issue that you're talking about, which really does not transform the lives of 15 million people. So how can you make such an argument? How can you make an argument with yeah, tina simba in this research not to miswa hapana chinoshanda but muhammad aiwa toda kushingirira kunge tiripo kuti tizongoisawo tunhu tushoma tunenge chionekwa neZANU PF kuti turi useless so they will permit it to be a motion. I think your minds are admitting something that your hearts do not want to admit. That you have no business in that parliament that really serves the people of Zimbabwe. But you just want to continue for some other benefit, which my other colleagues have pointed to as maybe material or monetary benefits. I won't go there, but you cannot fault the people who think so when you are making such admissions and clearly demonstrating your limitations. So munozofota sei futi ma-citizens ari kukuudzai kuti isusu tinoda kuti mubude imomo because your being there is just serving as window dressing, as salad dressing. Nekuti ndimi matiudza kuti you have no power and no serious motion is going to happen that is against ZANU PF coming from your side. Then the citizens tell you that, so your being there is nothing else than window dressing for ZANU PF. Therefore, it is serving the purpose of ZANU PF. But then you argue that no, the citizens are wrong. How is it that they are wrong? Before you came and gave this explanation, we could accuse the citizens of conspiracy theories. But I know my MP have a way to move motions that are against ZANU PF. But you have made it clear today on record and recorded that you do not have a way. Unless the motion is something pitiful, that the ZANU PF knows has no real impact. So gentlemen, please, let's make that make sense. The citizens are right. You know the citizens are right. You now have ulterior motives for you to continue there. Those ulterior motives are what are making the citizens very resentful of you. That's why they're talking about 2028 or any opportunity that they get to punish you. If they cannot punish you by that means, they will punish you the way they've been doing currently, insulting whenever they get the chance. But you cannot fault them again because they are resentful of the things that you are attesting to yourselves. Then you say the people do not have a national question. I think you are the ones that have not been hearing the people. The people are clear. The national question and the national objective is to change the oppressive system. And we know that the oppressive system is represented by ZANU PF. Even if I have ideological differences with my brother Smarters, even if I have ideological differences with my brother Mwendas, Koma Gerard, advocate, or Madame Elizabeth, we are all agreeing on one thing. The system that is currently there is oppressive and must go. What causes us to exist in different colors is not that we do not have a national question. It is simply that we do not have the same solution to resolving or addressing that issue of the oppressive system going away. Ndosaka mukomageza vatouyawo futi vari kutaura nyaya yeoppressive system iyoyo but vari kungouya a different strategy that I am not ascribing to. The same way I did not ascribe to other strategies that were there. And I'm a person who believes that we do not know which strategy is going to work to bring ZANU PF out. So we should not limit the strategies of attacking the system that you guys don't understand, but is the national question. We should not limit the approach. Geza should be allowed to do what he is doing. But we should not therefore say anyone else who is in disagreement with him, but once ZANU PF gone, is not fighting to have ZANU PF gone. Because by so doing, we're now limiting the chances of removing ZANU PF. Let everyone pursue the objective of removing ZANU PF in whatever fashion or means that they find viable. But Zamurutaura as we continue in Parliament, my confirmations is not helping anyone. And I think you're also being very disingenuous when you reduce the benefits of being a parliamentarian to being material and financial. We all understand the benefits that come with titles and positions and offices. We will not go in that debate because but let's be clear there. Then people that are arguing that ZANU PF destroys itself, so therefore we should stick to this plan and forget other plans, are also lying. Yet they're the ones that are trying to claim, let's be truthful to history. If ZANU PF destroyed itself, it would not be here 45 years later. It would have ended a long time ago, but it has not. I think if I was to adjust your statement and try and make it make sense, I would say ZANU PF prunes itself. Says later, pruning. And it has been very good at that. And unfortunately, we as opposition have sometimes fallen to trap to being used as the trimmers. Says that 2017. They wanted to trim one of the two functions so that they have some cohesion, or so that they have some centralized direction. Vakatrima vakabvisa green G40, vakasara la cost nechino. That's what they're doing now. It's another trimming process. It's not going to lead to the destruction of ZANU-PF. Rather, it's going to lead to their continuation because now they have a centralized idea. Or at least some would have fallen in line for a couple of years until pasika a branch inofana kutrimwa. That is the truth. Not kwete kuzvinyepera kuti it's destroying itself if you look at its history. If it was destroying itself, it would not be here. What has been destroying itself is opposition. That is why right now we are saying, is opposition there? And I can answer the question by saying it is there, but it is in ICU. And the citizens need to attend to it to rescue it. The citizens will not be able to attend to rescuing their genuine opposition in their different colors, as political parties, as civic organizations, as churches. They will not be able to attend to rescuing it if they are focusing on solutions coming from a faction of ZANU-PF. Let ZANU-PF fight ZANU-PF. While if they are fighting and they are busy and they are distracted, let's go to building our institutions in preparation of removing whatever form of ZANU-PF survives. That's what we're supposed to be doing. It's not helping us here day and night. Kuramba chiti, hey, akusina opposition. Yet tese tichisumudza roko kuti inini I am opposed to ZANU-PF. Inini I am opposed to MNANGAGWA. It means you are opposition, but you are simply choosing not to fall into organization. And you have to ask yourself the question, why? Doesn't matter if you're diaspora or Zimbabwe. You have to ask yourself the question, in my speech, in my participation, I am opposition. Why am I not willing to do this in a formal organization, in a structured thing that might be informal, but together with my brothers and sisters who hold the same position? Why? If we do this, we'll be able to replace even the honorables that are here. Right now, you are threatening the honorables that we will replace you. But the truth of the matter is, if you guys don't become part of the organizations, you can't replace them. You will go to 2028 if 2028 is there, and they will still be the only faces you can identify because you didn't raise your hand the moment that you were supposed to. And that moment is now. That moment was yesterday. You see, that's what we're supposed to do. I'm also very disheartened when people say double speech. If the citizens of Zimbabwe say they do not want to go in the streets because they do not trust Geza and they feel that Geza is going to cause them to be arrested and to die for no purpose other than to bring in another ZANU-PF face, you call them stupid and cowards. You call them unreasonable. But you can make the same argument for one of your leaders. But leader yoda aswenda mstreet because hapana anozomsapota, anozosungwa, anogona kuuraiwa. That means it's very clever. But then when an ordinary citizen makes the same decision, you say he's stupid. Make it make sense, ladies and gentlemen. Make it make sense. Are you saying that amongst the Zimbabweans, there are those that are more equal than others, that they should not risk themselves, or is the rest of us that are considered ordinary, small, or what has been called Mickey Mouse here, should be the ones that risk our lives? And there are those that should just benefit from the risking of our lives. And you want people to rally to that call. All right, thank you, Ngoma. Sorry, Ndazwendra. I just want to end by saying that Geza is not our only option. The parliamentary process, as has been explained, is a doomed process. Or it is a very low probability. If there are people that want to subscribe to it, it is fine. Let the process run. But go back to your organizations. Let's rebuild that opposition so that we can truly take out ZANU-PF. Our problem is not ED, Msanye. Our problem is ZANU-PF, regardless of which face is there. Tikabvisa ED nasi, mangwana panouya umwe, and anengane zvigananda zvake, and they will just do the same process. Thank you, Ngoma Gerard and Ngoma Titus. I will leave it today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ngoma Tino, come through.